funding. I can tell you right now, 100% of students abafike kumina, they are now funded by our head sciences. Now we can move to another issue. We have Eddington Residence, which is owned by the SRA and also CHS, which is the College of Health Sciences. Leya resi leyana ayikho suitable for umfundi. Kufanele ivalwe. Ngangena as house committee chairperson, ngalungisa ama maintenance issues, namanje sebehlula ukufaka amanzi abandayo. Ayivalwe leya residence straight. Now we can go to this issue yama practicals ke kwi vacation. During our vacation period, we all know ukuthi inesi UKZN liyafika ngoJanuary liyaphuma ngoDecember. Ukuphumula kukho kwa nursing. But ama allowances aqala February aphele November. Sometimes aqale March as we can see this year ukuthi siqale March. Wonke umfundi angeke aze alambe during ama practicals nge vacation time. We already have a detailed plan on how to get our funds for our food parcels. Okanye if they fail to give us these funds for our food parcel, then that's when we will go for some sort of allowance. We have to extend the budget yama nursing students kuma allowances. We have to extend that issue. Lapha ngoJanuary nango lento nango December we have to receive normal allowances for NSFAS funded students and also amanye amabhasari now. Kufanele enze the very same thing. So engikushoyo kahle kahle kubafundi as uJama Lethukuthula oze lapha mkwenu deployed by the South African Students Congress. Votelani isasco iyozolungisa inkinga zenu. Kwi college la kwa health sciences votelani uJama Lethukuthula. Uyena ozokwazi ukuthi alungise inkinga zenu. I thank you.
Greetings sanibonani. Ngibingelele. Ngikhethi. Sanibonani. Ngibingelele ngiphethe kudumelise the student of Ukzn in general and the College of Agriculture, Engineering and Science in particular. Egama lami Mpho Rapule. I'm currently registered for civil engineering at Howard College. Ngafika la Howard in 2017, we registered for land surveying, which is within the same college. Then I graduated last year in 2020. So I have a degree within the particular college. So my knowledge of the college, like it's vast, like because the process I've seen it from start to finish. So lento engizele nami namhlanje to present the manifesto of which I'm a commitment la engwathembisa ukuthi if I'm being elected to SRC ngizowenza. Then into yokuqala le engizoqala ngayo ukuthi indaba yama res on camp for ama Fanele student eswini ukuthi Fanele student benza ama project of which some project kudingeka ama softwares la atholakala emaleni kuphela. So ukutravel from off camp to on camp on daily basis kuyakhathaza in project nayo kodwa wadinga ama ukuthi thing like nesikhathi sakho. Then the other issue is that it guarantees that the laptop guys yes like kuthi yaphela after around 3 years. So abantu bonke benza amafanele it's obvious ukuthi ama laptop awasasebenzi. It's either i-battery isasebenza or the other issue. Yeah, yona indaba ama res le. Then the second thing is like ama land should be open 24 hours. And the only way to wenza lento is to activate ama turnstile for ama particularly Fanele student. Activate nje ama turnstile gate ufike ushaya ikhadi ungene. There's no need for staff sibe khona lapho. Activate nje for ama Fanele student. Then ama lena asawathi yazi ukuthi ama lena active manje. It's only DC1 and DC2 iMac and Sentinel, of which Sentinel and Mac zavala around 4. So you can't expect someone owenza civil, owenza agri, owenza survey, owenza chem, owenza Mac, owenza unite ukuthi bonke bagcwele DC1 and DC2 after 4 o'clock. So kumele iSentinel bayivule now beyond 4 o'clock kube 24 hours nayo neMac nayo nase EEC. Then the other thing engizoqhubeka ngayo kuyoba yilona support staff la. Sine issue la yama support staff like ama change of curriculum turn around turnover yabo they said is 5 days. But kule current semester esibuya kuyo like we have seen ukuthi like ugcwalisa change of curriculum kuze kudlule 2 weeks and ama possibilities or change of curriculum ay 2 it's either the request will be rejected or accepted. So if for 2 weeks I was kwenzakalani yabo ukuthi uba ngathi awusekho sho ukuthi kumele wenzeni ukuthi attend leyo module or weekend. The other thing that ama workshop kumele bawabhile ku student account. Then to expect ukuthi abantu mabe kuma workshop must travel from their pocket from Ehawa to Emlas on daily basis ayikho fair. Then the second last thing engizokhuluma ile Jama mention amathuthi esinokuthi isikole sethu uthi sona lesinayo the highest exclusion rate Howard, especially amongst my first year. So for subject like maths, your maths and your applied kumele kube namathuthi amaningi so that we reduce number of students per tooth, because currently njengoba kwenzakala there are many students in one tooth which Ntole ayikho sufficient for other students. Then eyokugcina then ile exclusion there, like kumele kwisikole ba provide ama processes la oku rehabilitate ama students laba excluded. Listing ukuthi when you must go emakhaya then uze rehabilitate ayikho fair. Ayikho must find ways of which they must assist ama students la laba ba excluded ukuthi athole way yokubuyela futhi like esikoleni. The other way bangayenza ukuthi they must register lawo students for non-degree purposes modules within that particular degree so that babe within the system yabo.
Ngibingelele kubafundi. Igama Simphiwe Ntombela. Incoming college rep for humanities Howard campus. Othunywe isasco ukuthi ahola abafundi kule college. Ngaqale. Humanities has two main sectors which are undergraduate and postgraduate. Both these sectors have different issues which are mainly academically and financially. I would firstly like to say I'm the best candidate for this portfolio because I am student centered. Sukela unyaka nje uqala bengihlele SU ngi-assist ama-student ngitholakala ngaso sonke isikhathi ngihlezi ngise-SU over the phone ngiyatholakala. Kuya kuma-issues, issue of registration sinenkinga kakhulu ngale issue le. Humanities udlala ngathi ama-students mayifika kuqala unyaka aqala registration especially khona alawa ama-returning. Uma uqala unyaka benza change of curriculum kuphele 3 weeks engalokho engacapturishiwe kuze eze buye kuthina kuma siqale siphinde siwasende thina so sinenkinga lokho ngaleyo indlela engizoyixazulula ngayo. One, ukukhuluma no line manager which is Anusha lapha ka humanities ukuthi akasilungisele lento ye staff. One, staff mele sibuye on campus because unfair ukuthi ka housing bayakubasibuyisile staff, there's a rotation of staff but ka humanities akwazi, so staff sa humanities sidinga on campus. Uma sesikhona on campus then sizokwazi ukusiza because laba bathola ama emails 150 emails nge-hour. Uyacabanga ukuthi umuntu ohlele endlini okwakhe onelokho one-internet engekho reliable unjani lo muntu lo. So sinenkinga ethi ama-students ase-register late. One, ile kunalesi silwana lesi esilapha esikoleni okuthiwa i-academic monitoring system. Leyanto leyana ayisebenzi leyanto leya because one, i-student abayi-track i-process yaso from sick green sithi sick green mase sick red bese besijumpa ukusesihluda bengalokho bengaze beyilandelele. So nje le one ibalekile academic monitoring system iyona into engiyidemandayo le ukuthi ayibe consistent, kube ilokho academic services support ibe standardized. Asikwazi ukuthi ePMB campus kube khona umakhosi but Howard engabikho umakhosi. So nje kahle kwamanje ngithi mina umakhosi kumele buye on campus. Kube ile ndaba yamalokho yama psychologist. Asikwazi ukuthi humanities umngaka besitshela ukuthi kumele sibe nama psychologist amabili. Akukwazi ethe amabili bese bethi futhi mele kube via Zoom. That won't happen under my leadership. Ngiyayilwa nje leyo ngeke iziyenzeke. One, ababuye on campus and sebebuye on campus aba edwe because lento ya online i student sibhuka manje sibhuka manje mhlawumbe sifuna ukuyibulala thiwa asibhukhele next week uyabona lo muntu lo kusho ukuthi uyofika next week sekunjani so nje one kumele bebuye labo bantu labo on campus kube le inkinga ka funding kunenkinga funding ngapropose ukuthi ilokho sibe nabantu ababili abazosidilela kalokho ka humanities kube nabantu ababili abazosidilela nokuthi belungise lento ye clearance izingane zihlala for weeks i-registration isipacked ngento kalokho ka funding so nje leyo sizodinga abantu ababili abazoqashwa i-university bebe khona ngale period at least ye-registration postgrad funding ibalekile kakhulu ke le ye postgrad funding because i-university honors student e-registered ithola 60,000 masters e-registered ne PhD bathola 80,000 200,000 leyo mali leyo half of that money ngayidemanda ukuthi ayiye kuma students kube i-TVC funding lo funding lowo kahle owenzelwe abantu who were former NSFAS beneficiaries ayi ukuthi kuthatha ngokuthi uphase kahle no akwazi ukwenzeka lokho leyo nje kumele ilunge kwamanje leyo ile engizoyingenela impela ukuthi ayilunge kwamanje lo funding lo first priority akubo abantu abaneed abawudingayo funding sibe nenkinga futhi ama postgrad angakwazi uqeda on time because of ama supervisors angamaki on time or anga attend on time ngenelelo impela kuyilungisa le sibe nenkinga ye postgrad intake sinenkinga leyo ngicabanga kumele simove ama resources from kulama honors degrees alokho aba nama candidates aba nama students amancane afuna ungena khona asimove uma kungukuthi ka site bekuthatha 100 kuthatha 70 for instance ama students abe 100 uma ngingagcwala ngapha ka philosophy awumuve lo ngamakisale 30 awumuve lo 30 lo ulethe ngwa asimove ama resources ngalokho then kuzosiza kube lento ka NRF la ilok ama students postgrad onke ayodinga NRF but inkinga ile ya process yakho ne applyela so ngizodemand ukuthi i-humanities ube nabantu ngalesikhathi lesisuvula NRF ube nabantu abazoloko abazosiza ama students from i-processor ka NRF kube lento ye school based funding ischool neschool isino funding low funding low awusebenzisa uku-assista futhi ama postgrad ama masters students nama PhD students ngama scripts abawabhalile or apublishiwe kuba khona imali eya kuma supervisors ama supervisors leyo mali half of that money must be directed to ama postgrad kizoma lapho ngiyabonga.
One of the burning issues that we have as the College of the College of Humanities, ilento yokuthi catch-up tests are not compulsory for all modules as the College of Humanities, where else sisane contact learning nje enyuvesi besi nama supplementary exams that were compulsory for anyone who has failed the modules. So where else we almost see at this point of virtual learning where our lecturers have to. One of the burning issues that we have as the college rep.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
One of the burning issues that we have as the College of Humanity, as the College of Humanities, ilento yokuthi catch-up tests are not compulsory for all modules as the College of Humanities, where else sisane contact learning nje enyuvesi besi nama supplementary exams that were compulsory for anyone who has failed the modules. So where else we almost see at this point of virtual learning where lecturers have to make amends to make catch up for other students that were not able to write exams or submit assignments due to network problems. Such things are not necessarily made compulsory for students, and that is a very big issue because no. Should I continue? Okay. And then another problem that we have in Njengama students aga humanities, it's the mentorship program. The mentorship program is not necessarily designed to help students. Where else I feel like abantu that are employed, they are not as considerate like enough for first years in terms of helping them, like because I feel like from the moment you have failed test one, the mentorship program should pull up their socks and look into your story or your problem, or even from the first time you fail your first assignment. I feel like they should pick up from there and they should have more interaction, like more strong relationship with students, which is not necessarily a problem. And then umase kuba inkinga ye registration. Salokhu ngafika 2018 la esikoleni, a lot of students or first years have had registration problems in terms of ukhokha imali registration and imali deposits fee for erase. So I propose that lendaba ye registration nje for academic year should be waived because we already fall under the 350 level. It's all NSFAS, so I would not understand how they expect ukuthi zibe no 7,000 njalo unyaka umuqala zokuthi zi-register where should I continue?
Greetings to everyone. My name is Faith Gumede, under the single individual candidate. Singaba as abafundi base Howard College ka humanities banenkinga abafundi mayelana when it comes to registration. Abafundi mabe register kuthatha a long process when it comes to registration. Abafundi baze bagcine seba system seba register late. As I will be in charge of that, ngizokwazi ukuthi abafundi ba register bonke in time. Then abafundi baba nenkinga when it comes to ukuthi bazo regada bani if ukuthi bafuna ukusizwa mayelana naga humanities if banama problems about funding or izinto abadinga ukuthi bayibuze mayelana nefundo zabo. Then mina I will be in charge of that. Ngizozama ukuthi ngayo yonke amandla ami ukuthi abafundi ngibaxhumanise la bafuna ukuthi baye khona. If badinga usizo ngibayise kulowo muntu lowo ozobasiza regardless. If abafundi babe nenkinga ukuthi abayazi i-handbook abayifundi handbook ya humanities, so ukuze abafundi bazokwazi everything about humanities ngizozama ukuthi I will form a program so that wonke abafundi bazoba ne clue and nanokuthi kwenzakalani humanities if banama problems bazoxhumana nobani ukuze basizakala. Eqaleni konyaka sike sabhekana nezinkinga zokuthi zaka funding finance. So NSFAS ungakwazi ukuthi ukhokhele bonke abafundi ngendlela abafundi baze ba register late. So if in charge ku humanities ngizozama ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi bonke abafundi bawuthole in time finding wabo then bakwazi ukuthi babuye bafunde ngesikhathi. Kuke kwaba khona inkinga kubafundi zokuthi abafundi bagcine bangakwazi ukuthi babe nenkinga okungena kuma lecturers whereby ba registerle in time. Leyo nto ngizoyilwa ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi abafundi if umfundi eseregisterle akwazi ukuthi afunde ngoba abafundi babambezelekile bagcine abafundi bagcine sebangakwazi ukuthi bangene kuma lectures nama assessment abageje ngesizathu sokuthi abakazwanga ukuthi humanities ukwazi ukubasiza bakwazi ukuregister fully registered in time. Mayelana nabafundi abanenkinga ama lecturers khona ama lecturers thola ukuthi abafundi umfundi ubhalile i-test yakhe kodwa yagcina ingafakwanga as if uyibhalile i-test like ibhale uCR related COVID related. Leyo nto ngizoyilwa as kulabo bafundi baka humanities ukuthi kungabi bikho umfundi ogcine seba no CR related ekubene wabhalile wonke ama assessment. Ngiyabonga.
Revolutionary greetings, good people.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike.
Revolutionary greetings, good people. My name is Siza Mkhonza, also known as the Memorandum. I'm currently doing third year at Nelson R. Mandela School of Medicine, and I'm your only candidate this year for MCRC College, which has a track record of championing student issues with no fail. LMMS, my next target is the EME. My former leadership positions are as follows. I am former chairperson of COSAS, so you know I'm no political neonate. This thing of championing student issues and dealing with officials, it started way back while I was still in high school. I am former floor rep at Juniper residence, and we were able to procure dryers in my term of office in that position. I am former EFFSC spokesperson
in medical school branch, and I'm currently serving as the third year class rep. And if you ask me how that is going, I will tell you with a straight face and without any fear of contradiction that we are cruising nicely. But if you ask me how many victories I've been able to bag in my term of office, I'm afraid I won't be able to tell you, because at some point I just lost count. But what I am most proud of is the high movement of students from orange to green under my leadership, because finally we saw assessments taking into consideration the difficulties that students face in residencies. Now, I also ran a small business which was able to donate an amount of 500 rands towards the Made Doctor campaign at the beginning of the year, and I'm very proud of that one as well. All my accomplishments in student leadership have come with very limited resources, but if you entrust in me the resources that will come with the position of college rep, these are the following issues that I plan to champion in my term of office. Number one on the hit list is this thing of academic exclusion. 3 amendments must be made in that policy. Number one, the time at which a student remains excluded, it must be decreased. A student cannot remain excluded for a period of a year. They haven't killed anyone. Number two, appeals that students can be allowed to make must be increased to at least 3 for readmission. Now, the policy also speaks about students being excluded after 4 semesters. Now, that period also must be extended to 6 semesters. Because that policy does not take into consideration the challenging nature of our degree, the number of modules that we are doing in medical school, and also the length of our degree, it being 6 years. Now, I also want to tackle this thing of financial exclusion, the financial exclusion under the leadership of the memorandum, and I further commit myself to raise funds to prevent financial exclusion. I also plan to work with the Central SRC in introducing a selectives allowance in medical school. Now, I will also increase academic support and social support to the Nelson Mandela Fidel Castro Medical Students Collaboration Program. Now, the following issues are issues that are mostly affecting LMMS. Now, in LMMS, first years at the beginning of the year, they must receive free lab coats. And I am also committed to raise funds so that I make this a reality. The DH must be equipped with new equipment. I'm talking about new dissecting equipment. I'm talking about gloves. I'm talking about worksheets. It can't be that the school cannot even afford to provide us with worksheets when it comes to the DH. And also the skills lab as well must be finished with new equipment. That is in line with new equipment that is currently being used in clinics. A lot of lectures are being cancelled and never rescheduled. Now, that must stop. And the lectures lectures must be uploaded on time as well. Venues are currently closed at medical school for no good reason. And in the School of Clinical Medicine as well as LMMS, there must at least be 2 consultants per OSCE exam. Our future cannot lie in only one person's hands. Now, I am sure that I'm transitioning to the School of Clinical Medicine, and I am sure that I'm becoming a 4th year next year, and I'm also looking forward to that, especially in my role in student leadership, because I've developed such a good relationship with some of the heads of department in that school. That will make me a huge asset to get you guys wherever you might need. I wouldn't be the memorandum if I was not eager to learn and fast at it too. And I also have knows the outgoing EFFSC deployed themselves to college rep where I can ask at any time for guidance. So I make this point because I don't want you to be misled by political units who will come to you and tell you that an older individual is more suited for the position, even though there is no practical evidence that this person is even competent. So do not be misled. Dumshini will be held by the right hands. For the past 3 years, college reps have been people who started their term while they were still doing 3rd year. What matters more than the number of positions we have held is what we're able to do for them in those positions. So you can have 50 positions. If you cannot show us one thing that you were able to do in that position, then we can't take you serious. Now, I want to appeal to your heart and most importantly, your conscience to make an educated vote. Because by doing so, you will not only be helping yourself, but you'll also be helping your fellow colleagues that are coming after you. Now, in the coming SRC elections, we are voting for capacity and competence, not fame. If you did not hear anything that I said here today, remember this. I'm that guy people call when they want things done right and with the utmost efficiency. So I further make the commitment that if finance needs help getting funds to register students at the beginning of the year, the memorandum will answer the call. And if SSSO needs help getting buses for students, the memorandum will answer the call. The basis of the matter is that once it affects your academics, the memorandum will immediately be activated. If there is one thing that I've proved in serving students in my term as the 3rd year class rep is that there is nothing that's impossible when you are working with me. Amanda, Aweto. Thank you very much, comrades.
Greetings, colleagues.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike.
Greetings, colleagues. My name is Fanele Gina, and I am running for the portfolio of college representative. I like to think of myself as the rural boy from Ingwavuma who overcame the circumstances of marginalization and forged his way into medical school. I believe my story resonates with most of you. So then, now that we are here, how do we shape an institution that was built by a system that excluded us into an institution that represents us? One that acknowledges and embraces our diversity and allows us to be conducive without changing who we are. The admission policy of our medical school, all thanks to the gigantic student movement, SASCO, uses the quintile system that allows, therefore, for the majority of the student population to be African and ensures the inclusion and prioritization of students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Us being here and being the majority should then reflect on the school policies. It should reflect in something that may appear as small as telling students to type out exam answers instead of writing them down on a script, and in something as big as having more African teachers who would better understand the population they will be teaching and the cultural dynamics of the population that we will be serving, and who would better translate some of the concepts to a language that we would understand. I assure you that I understand the weight and the responsibilities of the college representative portfolio. It took a lot of self-scrutiny and introspection to decide to run for the office. I have utmost confidence that I will be able to execute all of the office responsibilities whilst also executing other programs for students and betterment. I am prepared to advocate for the student body and to boldly represent you in college board meetings so that our collective voice is heard. I want to strengthen the welfare offered to students, both university-wide and on a personal level, through advocating for the availability of resources and conditions prerequisite for reasonably comfortable, healthy, and secure studying and living. The whole world has been unfortunate to be faced with this devastating pandemic of COVID-19. It has negatively affected many aspects of our lives, including our academics and our academic program. Someone influential once said, adapt or die, except if our institution continues failing to adapt, it is not us that we will die, but the communities that we will be sent out to serve. Our institution is not doing enough to optimize our learning experience, while of course adhering to COVID-19 safety precautions. When this year ends, our medical school will be sending out interns that have never done surgery in a hospital setting in their entire lives. We will be sending out doctors that were only taught intubation, which is a life-saving skill, on a dummy in their years of clinical medicine, and were never practically assessed on that skill. Current third years will be sent into clinical medicine without adequate exposure to the basic skills that they should be taught at the skills lab. They'll be practicing these skills for the first time on real patients next year because they don't get to make use of the skills lab. Our school is clearly failing to adapt, and by so doing, it is failing its students, but also the community that we will serve. My mandate, therefore, is to ensure that we get the optimum learning experience in medical school, even during the pandemic, while ensuring that our safety is minimally compromised. I would like to briefly touch on the academic exclusion policy, particularly Section 6, which speaks to the classification of academic performance. The policy speaks of percentages that can never exist as far as our syllabus and registration is concerned as medical students, in a sense that it requires that you must accumulate at least 72% of your credits per semester to be classified as on good academic standing, when failure of one module means you accumulate below the 72% in the School of Clinical Medicine and puts you on 0 credits load in the School of Laboratory Medicine. This simply means that year in and year out, our students are at a disadvantage of being subjected to a policy that blatantly does not speak to them, and something needs to be done expeditiously. With that being said, I therefore commit myself to advocate for the following: achieving adequate academic support programs from first year to sixth year, targeting the roots of the high failure rates seen in the School of Clinical Medicine, reviewing and improving the isiZulu program, identifying and rectifying Nelson Mandela Fidel Castro issues, tackling for students' issues, ensuring the curriculum review is done, challenging the college to review its script review policies. No academic rotation should be done completely online. Special exams like Senate exams should be implemented. I will commit to transparency and communication. Albert Einstein once said, "Information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience. You need experience to gain wisdom." I have made it my point to gain wisdom in leadership through volunteering and leading in various university structures. I led in SRC structures and in clubs and societies. In 2019, I was honored to serve as the House Committee Chairperson at Khayelitsha Resident. I was a member of the Student Parliament in 2018, and I was fortunate to be part of its first ever sitting. I served as the Gender Officer for SASCO 2018-2019. I was part of the Student Surgical Society Executive Committee as their project manager in 2019. I served in the peer education as the LGBTI Forum Deputy President in 2018 and a peer mentor in 2019. I volunteered in the SRC orientation team in 2018 as its secretary, and in 2019. I have assisted the university in hosting mental health events and a very successful fund run in 2018. Currently, I am working on a program for breast milk donation, and I am also working with my peers to try and establish a specialization program for UKZN medical students. Join me so we can make our medical school a better place. On the 6th to the 8th of October, vote for me and vote for SASCO. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Revolutionary greetings are extended to all students of Edgewood campus, comrades of the FSC at Edgewood, and commissaries from the national level of the Student Command and the AFF respectively. My name is Siphesihle Mhlongo, who's famously known as Mhlengi Mbatha, the outgoing spokesperson of the FSC at Edgewood, and the current candidate of the FSC for college representative. I'm here before you to present my list of commitments, not a manifesto, but a list of commitments that I can ensure that if students can entrust me with their vote, I will definitely deliver these commitments. Mine would be very simple. Ngingena nje office kuzokata ama-degree abafundi, because you can clearly see that currently ama-degrees abafundi abakadiwe because of previous leaders that we've had. So mine would be simply to ukata ama-degrees abafundi because ayaphuma esandleni and awasagadekile. How do you do that? Firstly, all Zoom meetings must be recorded and must be uploaded on 2021.
compulsory. All lecturers must not just be ukuthi lecturer yoni izo emsebenzini wayo lokho. The lecturer must do that compulsory. So there must be a catch-up period that will replace a supplementary exam, so that our students will be afforded a chance, just like it was done with contact learning, so that students can get another chance. This thing of data allocation currently, it's very bogus and it's a reactionary position. There must either be a data reversal whereby you're going to get a 20 gigabytes anytime and 10 night old, or you get 20 gigabytes anytime and you get 20 night old. I'm going to ensure through my influence in academic boards and GUSICOM specifically that no students will be academically excluded at Edgewood campus while I'm still there. I'm going to ensure that postgraduate intake must be increased and the university must increase its funding respectively. I'm going to ensure that Lendo to Kokeli report it has never happened before. That thing must be stopped from this university, because Sobugo teaches us that education to us Africans must mean service to Africa. So the university must clearly state whether we're in a transaction or it's offering a service. If it's offering a service, academic record must be free. Can't pay for our report. So they must provide postgraduates with academic records for free. And it's feasible. We're going to ensure that this thing of teaching practice, M219, since it's going to be 6 months, the university must clearly present what does it want to do with these 6 months? What's going to happen to teaching practice allowance? Will it be once off or will it be 6 months? Of which we are going to be clear that if it's 6 months, then the TP allowance must also be for 6 months, because if 1 month, it's 1 meal allowance. And it must be clearly stated that students cannot afford this thing of moving around. You can't be in that position of the university that wants to impose on students that they are going to move around from this area to this school, not going to happen. Black people who are poor and who don't have enough resources for such movements. So if you're allocated in a school, and now you are going to stay in that school for the duration of your 6 months, and the TP allowance will be injected for that 6 months. So I want to appeal to all students of Edgewood campus that they must do the right thing. They must do the correct thing, and then they must vote for the FFSC in all portfolios and vote for Thando Ntuli, the incoming college representative of Edgewood campus. Because if FFSC were to lose the such elections,
nginibingelele kakhulu bafowethu igama lami nguSicelokuhle Zondo owaziwa kakhulu njengoNdlangamandla. The incoming
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power.
nginibingelele kakhulu bafowethu igama lami nguSicelokuhle Zondo owaziwa kakhulu njengoNdlangamandla. The incoming candidate for college representative. Ndlangamandla is your first friend on campus. From access to success, I represent the academic and the institutional interest of my college and the
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future?
Sanibonani bafowethu ngibingelela kakhulu abafundi base Educate Campus ngibingelele nje kakhulukazi nesasco ngibonge kakhulu ithuba engithola namhlanje ukuthi ngizodeliver imanifesto yami. Ngizoqala la bafowethu ngoba ioffice le college rep office elikhuluma kakhulu ngama academics ngoba ayikho iishe khona engathintana nama academics. So uma usuke endaweni yokuhlala yonke indawo ithinta ama academics, uma ungena nje esikoleni usungena vele uzofunda. So as sesiqalile ke sisiregistile kuma modules ethu, ake ngiqale from i-process registration. I-process registration kuyi-process ebaslow kakhulu kangangokuthi kwesinye isikhathi ba extended i-duration ye-registration. The time isiba extended i-duration ye-registration, we must first sibone ukuthi why i-registration izibe extended, mhlambe bisivaliwe, then mhlambe i-extend to i-date ethile. So fike siqale usibone ukuthi imapha ama-factors enza ukuthi registration izibe extended, futhi ayikwazi registration ukuthi ivale kungakagxilwa kulezi zinto zonke or 100% of the issues ezenze ukuthi i-registration ivalwe noma ibe extended. Mase ngizalana after abantu seberejistile, the time abanye seberejistile bakhona basuke sebeqhubekile nokufunda. Leyo nto le ijwayele ukwenza kube inkinga ke because ayibisaba khona ama programs aphusha labafundi laba abaregister late ukuthi beqhubeke nabo nokufunda befice kulaba, ngoba kulesimo sesiphuma kuyona sibe nenkinga yokuthi i-catch up ayizange bekhona abantu abafundi late ekuregistering kwabo late sebesele vele already kuma modules abakwenzayo. So soqala sithinte yona ke leyo nto ye-registration ukuthi i-registration ngize futhi kuma college kuma class reps abakithi athi ngiphinde ukugcina abakithi.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option.
Siphinde siqhubeke la ngisakhuluma ngayo i-registration ukuthi ke uma labafundi laba mhlambe just because of academic of financial issues bagcina sebe register late noma umuntu ebesayihlanganisela imali, kodwa sisazofika nakuleyo ukuthi financially ku-affecta kanjani ama academics. So uma ke labafundi laba sebesele ngemumva, mina I prioritize ukuthi ngihlangane nama class reps. Khona abantu ababaluleke kakhulu kodwa bayazi into ababaluleke ngayo. Kunabantu ababalulekile abayikhethayo noma abakhethwa abafundi okuthiwa ama class reps. Njengami angilindele ukuthi ngizothola ama emails amaningi from abafundi abaningi ekubeni bekhona ama class reps. Lokho kwenza ukuthi isondelane kakhulu information yethu. Ngizokwenza sure ukuthi ngiba nama meetings nama class reps ukuze ngenze sure ukuthi ngithatha konke lama list abantu abaneyinkinga, mhlambe inkinga eyiningi mhlawumbe ama marks acapturesheke kabi, mhlawumbe inkinga ezinye ke le kade ngiqeda uyibala ba register late, so sebesele ezifundweni zabo. Bese ngiphinda futhi ngiyachaza ukuthi ngibuyele futhi entweni ebaluleke kakhulu mangisuka kuma class representative, cause mina I liaise with the office of dean on issues affecting all students. So mina ke ngiyobe sengithatha those weekly reports from ama class reps, then compile them ngihambise ku dean, then siphinde siqhubeke futhi ngiqhubekele kwi-accommodation sihlala kuma-accommodation ahlukene isikole siyazi ukuthi abanye abafundi bahlala emakhaya just because of financial exclusion and everything mhlawumbe bayikhokhela i-4,000 so mina ngithi mina just because ama-accommodations ethu awafani into engiyicelayo from the institution ukuthi ibekisise kahle leyo because iyabazi abahlala e-res sinenkinga ze-network akungabi nama-due date afanayo nabafundi abahlala konquthu nabafundi abahlala le kwezinye indawo ama-due date akube ukuthi ayashiyana noma mele ama-class reps abaletha abafundi kumina ukuthi sinabo abafundi abahlala then banenkinga ye-network kanje so that mase ngihambisa inkinga yokuthi nabo abafundi esinenkinga nabo ukuthi sebenenkinga yokusubmit mase siyabheka ukuthi he is favored or she is favored by indawo ahlala kuyona so izona-ke izinto lezizo noma ingasaphelelanga kodwa i-revolution iyaqhubeka bakithi sazoqhubeka nje sixoxe sazoqhubeka silwe sesifikile-ke lana-ke ngiyabonga kakhulu bekuylawo maphuzu ebengifisa ukwasho namanye asesalile amanye abhalwe futhi lana kanti mina bengiyifisela ukuyikhulumela ngesiZulu ngoba lesuku lolu noma lenyanga inyanga yamasiko ngiyabonga kakhulu mina ngundla ngamandla danko.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your
Greetings, fellow students from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. My name is Siyabonga Masoko. I'm a student in the College of Law and Management Studies in the Pietermaritzburg campus. I come to you today, virtually so, to present to you my manifesto. A manifesto which I term as a lived experience, as my lived experience in the college, for the fact that I have been in the college, and it's a plan of action that I will be implementing once elected in office. I'm a student that has been involved in assisting students, especially in my own rights. I've established an organization called Siyabonga Masoko Initiative, an organization which has enabled me to write books, to host seminars, to host events from my community, and partially so within the university space. I come with an extensive experience in leadership, as I have been involved in Inactus UKZN as a project manager of Umtata Wamabovu project, a project that has seen UKZN Inactus being recognized nationally, winning competitions nationally and internationally. Having said that, the reason that I decided to contest for these elections is because I felt that there needs to be something that needs to be done. Because I have been in the college, I've experienced the college, I have experienced the ins and outs, the sweeter side and the sour side of the college. That is from receiving merit scholarships within the college and going as far as receiving risk letters. So I want to tell you one thing. If you're a student sitting out there having received a risk letter, I know what that feeling is. I have been there. I have been I have experienced that. But once elected in office, there's a few things that I will be doing. Part of which is college. I will ensure that I introduce and the college implements and adopts a policy that says a job placement policy. This is a policy that will enforce the college to go out there and look for job opportunities and look for what I call internships, opportunities like work experience programs, where students who are graduating from our college will be able to go and get easy access to employment opportunities. The college will have to conduct job readiness programs to enable our students to get into jobs. Another thing that I will be doing if elected in office is to ensure that all students within the college who appeal for NSFAS decisions, for whatever reasons that their NSFAS got terminated, they will be financially supported with an alternative financial aid support during the period in which they wait for their financial decision. I have been there. I have experienced that. NSFAS will take up to 6 months to respond to your appeal. In the interim, academics are continuing as normal. Those students are not being supported. I am an entrepreneur myself. One thing that I will ensure that the college, which especially the School of Economics, Accounting and Finance, ensure that support students who are entrepreneurs or who are student entrepreneurs. The college has all the resources to ensure that it empowers those students. Another things that I will ensure, because I've seen the college has a higher rate of exclusion, particularly academic exclusion. I will introduce measures that will ensure that we experience least to none of that by ensuring that we have free personal academic tutors. We have what I call the career guidance for first-year students. There will be a cool-off period, say for example a week, a period where first-year students will get a chance to determine if they still want to be in this college. That period will ensure that these students, if they want to reroute to another college, they are able to do that, so that we have students who really wants to be in the college. I will also ensure that all clubs and societies formed to pursue an advanced interest of students in the College of Law and Management, particularly BASA UKZ and PMB, Black Lawyers Association, which I have had privilege to talk to their executive members in the past week to discuss the challenges that they face in the college. I will ensure that these student organizations are appropriately supported and are given the necessary recognition that they deserve, including publications to national media and particularly UKZN media such as UKZN Indaba. In conclusion, I want to mention that I will establish a college committee soon after taking office. A college committee that would comprise of all students within the college, from all the schools, from the 4 schools that are in our college: the School of Law, School of Business Leadership, Graduate School of Business Leadership, and also School of Accounting, Economics and Finance, Management, IT and Governance. All our students that will form part of this committee will be from undergraduate to PhD level. Also part of this committee will be all class representatives and module representatives. That will ensure that we have a platform where I personally will account to this committee in the time frames that they will select. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard, and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up bending the only thing that you have, your future?
My humble greeting to the student populace of UKZN.
My name is Lungelo Nhlumayo, and I'm here to present my manifesto under the College of Law and Management. Firstly, we're living in a world that is changing and moving towards the digital world. We've seen gigantic number of changes in recent years with the fourth industrial revolution in place. We've been able to adapt to the online learning very well, regardless of its challenges. Against all odds, we were able to save the academic year for both 2020 and 2021. Congrats to that part. As online learning continues to be the way of teaching and learning, students face challenges of network coverage and inconvenient test windows. My duty as a college rep is to ensure that I negotiate with the leaders in the college about the adequate time for test durations and assignment, especially for BCom accounting and law students. Also, I will ensuring that all students have adequate resources for academic performances. This includes necessary additional tutors, mentors, previous exam question papers, and extra classes for challenging modules. In addition, I will make sure that all students have adequate knowledge about the field of their study before completing their degree. For example, moot court should be done by students of law who are in third year level, so that they will have information and enough expertise on what is needed from them before completing their degrees. This need not to be done by only law students, but all students across the College of Law and Management. Majority of universities does allow dominant language, and it is time for UKZN to allow isiZulu, and this should take place in university forms such as change of curriculum forms. And even in teaching learning programs such as codes outline should be available in isiZulu. The issue of academic exclusion, the university leaves students without support. My suggestion is that the students should get extra assisted if they face danger of academic exclusion. Postgraduate funding. I will make certain that students from College of Law and Management who have completed their undergraduate degree and willing to pursue their studies, I will ensure that they do so by engaging with the college to encourage companies to visit third-year students, like Bowman used to visit law students. And this should be a habit and encouraged to be done on yearly basis. And these companies will help with provisioning of bursaries that will fund postgraduate students. Furthermore, the college must increase the postgraduate intake at honors level as many students meet the average. As I'm about to conclude, it is significant to recognize and appreciate the good work of your vote, and change is necessary for the improvement of teaching and learning environment. I trust you will do the right thing and allow the best candidate to lead you. Your time and vote will determine how your academic performance will be throughout the year. Your issues and problems will lie to the person of your choice. Do the right thing, choose the best candidate. Asante sana. I thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard, and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
To the UKZN populace, please receive my humble greetings. By the name and surname, I am Nonjabulo. I am a person who values loyalty, respect, and dignity. I am an outspoken person who is easily approachable and who is not easily shaken by challenges. I can motivate and inspire the best from other people. I am a responsible young woman who always account for her behavior. But most importantly is that I am a generous and a courageous leader. Well, that's enough about me. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present my manifesto as the college representative deployed by SASCO at the UKZN PMP campus. Firstly, I would like to state that I'll be a diverse leader who will not only focus on the School of Law, but rather focus on all other schools that are under the college. I'll also ensure that the College of Law and Management and Studies allow its students to stretch beyond academic parameters. With that being said, we have a very challenged labor market. Therefore, the College of Law and Management Studies should not produce students who are content crammers, but instead produce students who are innovative and creative thinkers. In my term of office, I'll make sure that the office present students with the opportunity, or will take these students for practical experience, which will help them in their next future or in their next life. I'll also request the college to increase the number of postgrads who are admitted within the college. Specifically, the postgrads from PPL to LLB. I'll also urge the college to increase this number at least by 50%, and I'll also propose that the college admits the applicants who are internally in the college rather than the outsiders. During this time of COVID-19, we know that we've been limited our rightful resources. This has led to some students failing due to the limitation of resources. In my term, I will request the college extend the operating hours of the commerce lands in order to accommodate students when they have a pile of work, since most of the due dates and submission time is midnight. I'll also pay special attention to mental health resources. Despite that, the college does have those resources within the college, but we all know these resources has been altered or has been disturbed by the COVID-19. So it will be my duty to ensure that these resources are rebuilt and are reimaged in order to help students who are suffering with mental sicknesses or who are failing to cope with the workload that they have. In conclusion, I will quote John F. Kennedy. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. I then promised that I'll be the kind of leader who is willing to learn along the way. It is not always the time where you will need to judge a person by what he or she can say. Words are not always what determine the future of something. So I will pledge with the students of the College of Law and Management to give me the chance in leadership and trust that as I've worked as an undercover and in championing student issues, I'll be the best asset in office to champion their issues. I pledge that they trust me with their votes. I also pledge that students make an educated vote. Thank you very much.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike.
Manifesto for College Rep of Agriculture, Engineering and Science in PMB campus. Special and revolutionary greetings to all students in the College of Agriculture, Engineering and Science, KES. I say revolutionary because I believe that this is an opportunity for change and growth in our beloved college. My name is Mthobisi Mazibuko, a third-year plant pathology student. I am of a strong opinion that our country and campus should allow space for diversity. It must be an environment where students can coexist in harmony. However, one should never forget where they come from because this is your strength. And the university must be an environment that promotes our respective diversity. I have been helping students in the college for a while now and believe that this should come as an advantage toward me successfully executing my duties. Should I be elected, I wish to achieve the following. Gender-based violence. The issue of GBV remains a pandemic in the issue that we have no approach towards solving or tackling. I propose that the college have compulsory session that all our students will attend and participate in. I propose that the college will have a model that will be used to tackle GBVE. This should include a clear diagram of how a case will be handled from start to completion. Career guidance. Career guidance for all students in the college before registration closes. Some of the students enter into our school just to be in the university system without fully knowing what is expected from them in that school. This has caused the university to receive many internal transfer forms. International postgraduate students. Working hand in hand with the Office of the Deputy President, I will ensure that the college initiates a method that will be used to ensure that our international postgraduates get their clearance on time. This is possible because the university uses a college model, so all our students must be serviced at a college level. Academic exclusion. The university exclusion policy lacks rehabilitation. The university leaves students with no support when they are excluded. I propose rehabilitation component be introduced into the exclusion policy to ensure that our students are rehabilitated within the university. The issues of students in dietetics remains fundamental in the College of AES, despite the developments that were made when it comes to transport. I strongly believe that this discipline should be moved to health science because health science has bigger budget that will accommodate most of our students. Postgraduate funding. I propose that all postgraduate within the college be engaged in a seminar that will be used to generate a business plan. That will be sent to Ukzn and incubate for them to possible funding. And this document will also be sent to external stakeholders for them to possible fund this business model. Language policy. isiZulu is recognized in isiZulu is recognized in Ukzn and language policy. However, little has been done so far in the college to transform all communication within the college. I propose that in 2022 the college will have change of curriculum, change of mind, and change of qualification and all other communication by the college management in isiZulu. This will ensure that our students understand these major communications carefully. This will also ensure that this will also help the academic transformation from high school level to university and also will accommodate the student from the lower quartile. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike.
Ngibingelele kubafundi bebonke bakwa health sciences more especially.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option. Tertiary education. Tertiary education is not easy. Tertiary education is not easy. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up bending the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice. A smart way to strike.
My humble greeting to the students of the University of KwaZulu-Natal. My name is Lethukuthula Ndebele. I'm here to present my manifesto as a candidate who is contesting for the position of the college representative of the College of Agriculture, Engineering and Science. During the start of the year, I was involved in a campaign called Sizofunda Ngenkani campaign, where we were helping first-year students during registration. During registration, we saw a crisis at Ukzn where first-year students were struggling with registration. That is why I will demand that the university must allow first-year students to register on campus under strict COVID-19 regulations. During registration period, the college must employ temporary staff members who will assist the currently employed members with registration period for first-year students and returning students. In the process of employing staff members, the university must prioritize students that are currently registered at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. And this must be done, and there must be proper induction that must be done to ensure that these students to maintain professionalism and rationality towards students. Within the College of AES, although we are under e-learning, some of the modules demand that we go on campus to do our practicals. Looking at the condition of our laboratories, we need more resources in our laboratories to ensure smooth learning and teaching processes. Since the university inspires greatness, it should not be the case that the university deprives the students of their right to excel academically by limiting resources to these students. Therefore, I will stand firm by saying all modules must have make-up tests. Truth of the matter is that some of our residencies are not conducive enough to study. Hence, I will put it on the table that the university opens venues to study and do their group work for students. As the college rep, I will ensure the introduction of softwares courses such as Excel, MATLAB, SPSS, and many more. These softwares are mostly required in industries, and as you go on to your final year, these softwares are mostly used by students. At Ukzn PMP, Agri campus is located a bit far from main campus. That is why I will ensure that there is an escort that is dedicated to students that are using Agri campus when they are studying. For modules such as soil sciences, effective and regular field trips must be increased. This is to ensure that students are familiarized with the workplace. It must be noted that Ukzn is a diverse university. However, students under NATESA are being deprived the right of exercising their religion and culture. Students under NATESA are supposed to be exercising their right to religion and culture on Saturdays. That is why I will work hand in hand with the SRC executive if I'm being elected to make sure that Saturday is excluded as the day that is used for formal assessments. In my college, our postgraduates are funded by external sponsors, of which external sponsors are attracted by good academic performance. My duty is to ensure that all my students under the College of AES excel academically. I will also scout companies to fund postgraduate students through the cooperative social responsibility. This will encourage these companies to give students work experience in a form of internship or in-service training. Lastly, I will take the responsibility to raise funds to assist students who are unfunded during the start of the year. On the 6th to the 8th of October, make no mistake and vote, and please vote for Lethukuthula Ndebele as your new college rep for 2021-2022. I thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up bending the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
Ngithanda ukuthatha leli thuba lenqayizivele ngibingelela abafundi baseNyuvesi yaKwaZulu-Natal ePietermaritzburg ikakhulukazi eCollege of Humanities. Lona uThabiso Ntuli iCollege Representative yaHumanities ePietermaritzburg. Ngizolontsha imanifesto. So nginama point la engizokhuluma ngawo. The first point is going to be about registration. Yes, university is inspired by academic excellence. I'm saying university should allow abafundi abathola i-average ka 60% and above ukuthi ba register. And okunye university on the issue of 15% kumele ivumele abafundi aba-funded for lowo nyaka loyo ukuthi be register. Okunye i-university kufanele kwenze university kufanele ukuthi sibe professional staff in relation to among themselves and in relation to ama students, because lokho ukuba professional kwenza ukuthi ama students engakwazi ukuthi perform kahle academically. And on the issue of language policy, i-university must train ama employees ayo ukuthi at least ekwazi ukufacilitate the basic form of communication between ama students nama lecturers. And then makeup assessments should be compulsory and be made available for every assessment is provided abafundi. And then on the issue of afterlife as university, university kufanele ukuthi yenze ama means ukuthi ama students wayo ayakwazi ukuthi ethole umsebenzi maphuma esikoleni. For example, university can do offer ama programs ama training programs or ama zero credit modules ukuze azokwazi ukuthi enikeze ama students ama certificates are related kulama course kade bewenza, so that mabefika la baya khona bezokwazi ukuconvince i-employer ukuthi no, nginama competencies alento, I have a degree and I also have some other certificate akhombisa ukuthi le nto I'm good for it. And on the issue of support services, ngithanda ukubonga i-university about ama-food parcels akade be-administer last year, but then I just believe ukuthi kunendlela engcono yoku-administer lawo ma-food parcels. For example, mawuzothatha ukudla ukunikeza ama-students awanayo information e-relative ne-relevant ukuthi ubani umuntu one-funding, ubani umuntu ongenayo funding, ubani umuntu odinga kakhulu lokudla. So if kuzokwazi ukuthi kusebenzisene i-SRC and then ama-student wellness la ama-council and staff ibona abantu abane-information e-relevant ukuthi ubani odinga ukudla, so that lawo ma-food parcels lawo azongena ezandleni eyideservayo. And okunye ekuqaleni konyaka i-university kumele izame indlela yokuthi labafundi aba-unfunded ikwazi ukuthi ibanikeze essential services, for example for women like sanitary towels, izinto kanjalo. Ngaleyo ndlela-ke ngicabanga ukuthi i-support ama-students izoba right. Lezi zinto ke ngiyibale ngenhla zizokwazi ukuthi zi-achieveke mangabe mina ngizokwazi ukuthi ngi-occupy le office leni. Ngiyabonga. I-university kumele ivumele abafundi abakweletayo lento ka 15% ukuthi ba register ngisho ngakuthiwa uyakweleta umuntu, provided ukuthi lowo nyaka uzoqala ufunded. Moving on to i-admission, sinenkinga yokuthi ama-postgrad athathwa kancane, like amanje ama-postgrad athathwa kancane. So i-university kumele i-prioritize abafundi bayo ukuthi kumele benze postgrad other than abafundi abaqhamuka kwamanye institution. For example, ngipropose ukuthi kumele abafundi ade berejistile previous academic year kube 60% wabantu abazokwenza postgrad, and then kube 25% wabafundi akade bevele befunda ku-institution but then bebengarejistanga kunyaka odlule, and then bese kuba 15% wabafundi abaphuma kwamanye ama-institution. Also okunye ukuthi i-university kufanele ukuthi 2 months prior ama-application evulwe for ama-students amanye ama-institution, kufanele ukuthi kunikezwe abafundi bethu ukuthi be-apply ingekho i-pressure from ama-students amanye ama-institution. On the issue of funding, i-university maningi ama-private scholarships abakhona e-university. Uthola ukuthi i-scholarships zesibuyele emumva just because akekho umuntu oqualify kuleso scholarship. So into engipropose ukuthi i-university kumele lama scholarships a-private wa-publicize wonke umuntu khona uku-apply for leso scholarship lezo. And okunye le issue ka 60% average kumele ukuthi ikwazi ukuthi itriggerishe i-leniency like in conditions ukuthi benikeze ama-students i-funding. And okunye i-funding for ama-postgrad, i-university kuyayiphoqa ukuthi iqashe ama-postgraduate students ukuze bezokwazi ukuthi be-raise imali yokuthi bekwazi ukukhokhela ama-fees abo. Moving on to the issue of academic performance, we know ukuthi i-university is inspired by academic excellence. So into kufanele i-university iyenze ukuthi wonke ama-lectures under contract kumele be permanent. Lokho ngicabanga ukuthi kuzo-increase i-work ethic yama-lectures and i-staff nje in general. Okunye university kufanele i-staff university kufanele sikwenze, kufanele ukuthi sibe professional, sikwazi ukuthi can you cut?
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
Greetings to the Ukzn populace. I am Sandile Mayise, consisting for the College of Law and Management Studies. I am here to present my manifesto for the respected field of law and management. Well, firstly, the role of the college rep is to ensure that the student needs are well taken care of. With that said, let me get on right ahead. As we know, most modules in our respected college require constant assignments and presentations. As if I will be elected as a college rep, I would advocate for libraries to be open until late to accommodate those students who to study at night or till late. Secondly, as we know, the graduates' unemployment is increasing by each year. So as the college rep, I would advocate for internship programs in order for students to be exposed to their work, to be exposed to their work environment while they are still at the university level. Thirdly, there should be lands that are specifically designed for accounting students to ensure that they get that space and freedom to do their work. While we're on accounting students, there is the issue of funding. As we know, the books for accounting students are very much expensive than the ones that we buy on other courses. So I would advocate for the book allowance to be increased to accommodate those students so that they do not get into loans or anything that may impact negatively on their studies. Thirdly, the postgraduate intake should be increased. Hence, we know that our college is huge, and 20 students per honors degree or master's degree does not really accommodate all the students. Hence, most courses have almost 200, if not 300 students per course. So to do that, there should be increased intake in honors or master's level, like maybe 50 students per honors degree or 70. Okay. For my last point, there are programs that needs to be launched to further employ to further employ lastly, I would suggest for tea canteens to be launched in our quad to increase the level of students attending campus. Hence, we will increase the level of passing, the pass rate in our college. I have one last point. Okay, commending the effort from the university of establishing SI sessions in our field of law and management, which has been effective so far. However, as a college rep, I would also advocate for seminars to be held by organizations that the students will be exposed to, should they be done with their academic studies here in our respected university. I thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your
Okay, we've taken our time to consult the students of the College of Law and Management to make sure we know all their problems that they are facing. And we came to a conclusion of grouping them into 3 groups. So the first group is that of academic excellence, and then we'll look into the issue of exclusion, and then we also look into the issue of funding. Under the academic excellence, our main issue is to make sure that every student is vouched for. We need to make sure that we're championing all the problems that are faced by our students, and also make sure that the teaching and learning program runs smoothly. How so? We need to ensure the first issue that we're facing is that of the data and the Global Protect. So the data that is given to the student by the school is not enough. It is not enough for us to do everything in terms of attending classes and exams and everything. And the issue of Global Protect, it is not in its current state it's not welcoming for students, as the thing normally switches off every now and again. So we would like to propose that the school discontinues this thing of Global Protect at all. Another thing, we need to tackle the issue of plagiarism. So the students have been made to sign, the students were forced to admit to being guilty of plagiarism, while it was not explained to them what exactly it means and what are the ramifications of such. How is it plagiarism when you have referenced as per preferred referencing style of the institution? So the solution to that will be to implement the use of the already existing things like the writing place. So we can use the writing place to make sure that we educate the students about the plagiarism, let them know what it means, what the similarity index means, and also teach them how to write and avoid being charged for plagiarism. I'll also look into the modules with the lowest passing rates. The most common one is that of Stats 130, and amongst many also economics. So how am I going to solve that is by making sure that, is by implementing the thing of mentorship. So we deploy students who have already done the modules and they've done them exceptionally well. So we deploy them and ask them to go and help their other students. Okay, so we'll deploy
the students that have already done these thingy to act as mentors deployed by the college, so they can go and assist these students for better understanding so that no one is left behind. And when we tackle the issue of exclusion, this covers both the academic and financial exclusion. When the online learning system started, it was implemented and agreed on that no student will be left behind, no student will be excluded. But of late, some of our students have been suffering exclusion. So as SASCO, we stand to say that there should be no exclusion during the online learning era. I'll also fight for the college increase intake of the undergraduates and also the postgraduates for the year of 2022. Also liaise with the DVC and all deans of all the colleges to assist in ensuring that no student is unregistered due to historical debt or NSFAS insufficiencies. The issue of funding has been persisting for the longest of time, especially to the students who are postgraduate students, as NSFAS only funds students in their undergrad. As soon as they finish, then they are left to see themselves without anything. So how can we, so the way to overcome this situation is to ask, okay, I will go as a college rep, working together with other SASCO members at the school boards and everyone, outsource for funding. You go to the likes of Standard Bank, Unilever and everyone, make sure that they are involved and they donate, and we keep the funds so that we can help the struggling students. And we'd also like to ask the same companies to implement internship program or just work experience program so that our students are exposed to the work environment before they even get there. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
Greetings to you all, and more especially to abafundi baka health sciences. Londeka Duma, a SASCO candidate, and I'm campaigning for a College of Health Science representative. So under my leadership, I commit myself to ensure ukuthi bonke abafundi bayithola funding. By that, I'm including both undergraduate and postgraduate. I'll also ensure ukuthi kune increase in the enrollment of undergraduate, and there's a review of intake criteria. Thirdly, I will also ensure ukuthi kunama school visits. School visits to see assista ingane by sharing knowledge of how to apply for universities and also how to apply for e-funding. I'll also ensure ukuthi there's standard Microsoft programs to assist ingane with this, to familiarize themselves to how to use computers and to also adapt to online learning. I'll also ensure ukuthi kunama bridging courses for abafundi abaswaka matric. Mind you, khona abantu abanama points which are less but bafuna ukupursuisha other courses. So bazodinga ama bridging courses will assist ekuthini bakwazi ukuthi benze those courses. I'll also ensure ukuthi kunama placements in the School of Laboratory Medicine and Medical Sciences. Ukuthi abafundi bephuma when they are done with their degrees bakwazi ukuthi babe nama placements ngaphandle. I'll also assist my modules with a low pass rate ekuthini bakwazi achieve academic excellence. Also, I'll allow health science students to reside on campus because sibaninkinga transport ekseni nokuthi umuntu akwazi ukuthi reach transport earlier eya kuma campsite la sosebenzela khona. I'll also ensure ukuthi khona department-based equipment for our students. Either colleges ayasi funda ngawo, or else if they cannot bangasihlangabeza ngemali ethize ukuze singakhokhi imali enkulu for ama equipment and also ama scraps for health science. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave
Greeting to the leaders, especially the students of health science. The one standing before you goes by the name of Sandiswa Malinga. Well, I'm here to present why should you elect me as your incoming college rep of health science. So I've targeted few points here. Well, let me just go straight to the academic and the financial exclusion. So what I'm saying is that the students we've been facing the academic exclusion, and that happens through the shortage of equipment. And let me make an example for the postgraduate students. I've been receiving complaints from the students doing their masters and honors. We have like the shortage of equipment in the laboratories,
you want to do your practical and then somebody is busy there, so you can your practical, and that's really lowers the quality of your studies. Let me go to criminology. So what we've been facing as students, you know how we do the movement. So maybe during strikes, we end up being arrested, and then we face criminology. So I was wondering how the university thinks, because as students, like currently in the country, we're having a 40% of unemployment youth. So I was wondering if a student is having a criminology, the student has been with the academic record has been withheld. The student has been withheld. How are you expected to eliminate that rate of unemployment? Because by doing that, actually, you are telling me that I must not graduate, I must not go pursue my dreams. So the criminology, the criminal offense that are done by the university must be withdrawn under the political menace or under the protest or strikes. So let me go to the tuition fee. Currently, we're facing that issue of tuition fee. We're receiving 1.4 per month allowance from NSFAS. So what happens is that for College of Health Sciences, for people who are doing optometry, there's these big boxes. They cost a lot, and then they expecting you to pay for those boxes. So where are you supposed to get that money? Because you are receiving NSFAS. Section 29 of the Constitution, it says you must give them free education unless there are reasonable measures. NSFAS is not a reasonable measure. It has never been a reasonable measure. It will never be a reasonable measure. When we say we require the free decolonialized education, or when we say we want the free decolonialized education, we also including the tuition fee. We are not supposed to pay the tuition fee. We are not ready for that, and it must be stopped. And I also want to ask the management together with the Minister of Education, because through the system of education, whatever the type of education you are projecting, so I want to ask, what are the future plans of the country for the minister and the management? Because with the education, we are projecting the society want to create. So if I'm doing a degree and then at the end of the day, I'm just going to end up unemployed, why am I even starting that course? Because it's not helping me at the end of the day. I'm coming from a poor family. I'm coming from a poor background. How am I supposed to survive? So when we say we want free education, we also including all those things. Lastly, let me go to an academic record issue. Academic record, it actually represents that a report in high school. You see, in high school, every time you receive a report and you don't pay for it. So I was wondering, how do the manage or the colleges want us to pay for the academic records? Because the academic record represents my report. How am I even supposed to pay for my report? And that must be stopped. Here's what it is. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard, and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background. To strike with X. To strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary
Greetings, fellow classmates under the College of AES. I am Njabulo Maphalaa, contesting for college representative of the College of AES. Having realized that the struggle of students is an integral part of our struggle, as an upcoming college representative, I promise to enhance the academic excellence of students by fighting against anything that plunges the academic excellence of students. Things such as late replies from lecturers, and also the unfair treatment that we receive and the unnecessary pressure such as chasing unreasonable due dates. I also wish to fix the issue of for example, the sequential method, which states that once you write a question, you cannot return back to it. I also hope to work on that alongside with students. I also wish to help postgrads with the issue of their NSFAS funding, where each and every year we found out that they can't register because they are not financially cleared. I will make sure that every postgrad student is entitled to financial clearance so that they don't face any difficulties when registering the following year. I promise that there will be physical therapy sessions for those who are suffering from mental breakdown, because we have seen students who even attempted suicide simply because they were facing a lot of pressure and they had no shoulder to cry on, or rather not even a cushion to fall on. I also promise that every student who has an idea of starting their own business will be supported through mentorship, financially, also capital-wise. And I also wish to enforce and put measures and facilities in terms of practicals for students so that they are equipped enough for life after varsity. Because we find people who have degrees but then they are sitting down simply because they don't know the physical work that must be done when they reach that area. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
Sanibona abafundi omi phambi kwenu uNkululeko Khanyeza contested as a campus chairperson. Since fresh year, I have been a passionate advocate for our students as well as our community. I have been a strong student activist, and EFFSC has aligned perfectly with my beliefs. Sorry. Can I start? Okay. I have been a strong student activist, and EFFSC has aligned perfectly with my belief for to have a free decolonized education and economic emancipated country for all. I stand before you today to deliver not empty promises, but few out of many issues I aim to tackle when I get into office. 100% of return of staff to enable students to register swiftly, capturing of change of curriculum forms, and many academic related issues. Insourcing of staff, well equipped and trained RMS. Security is a big issue in our campuses. Just a few weeks back, RMS was robbed at gunpoint. Our RMS officials are not trained. They don't even carry tasers or guns. They are just themselves. 24-hour clinic and ambulance with doctors on call. We have a clinic evala go 11 currently, ivula ngo 9, ivala ngo 11, but short staffed. Let us utilize ama-nurse wethu no-bethu so increase ama-hours. Asikhethi ukuthi sigula nini, sigula. Also, kulento ye-clinic, akumele bekube sicela i-student card. Siyawazi ama-details wethu, verify bona on their end ukuthi indeed students. Kube 24-hour libraries and lands. University of UKZN proud itself University of African Scholarship, but yet hours esinikezwa wona ema-library nasemaleni are limited. Ivula ngo-80, ngo-9 mahamba amabhasi isivaliwe, but yet majority of students awanawo ama-gadgets. At the end of the day si-expecte uthi siphasa kanjani singenazo iy'nsiza kusebenza ezesikolo zi-limited. Kube the biggest issue face ama-students currently, issue of funding, in particular ama-postgrads. Ama-postgrads iwona asafarisha kakhulu. So in my term of office, I will ensure ukuthi we establish a postgrad SRC izofundwa obanikele, izofundwa ama-service providers. For instance, eHoward kuzo-renovatwa i-res. So whoever othola leyo contract must contribute a certain percentage to Leo Trust funds. We have shops around our campuses. They must also contribute towards Leo Trust fund so that the student debt sizoncipha. Insourcing of campus residences. Let us insource ama-resa of campus abe under UKZN kwenzekile eHoward nase eJude. We have iBelfort neSunsable. Maswa insource ama-resa senze njani ke? I-Wi-Fi is standardized, ama-services are standardized. We have RMS as ama-security. Usutrainiwa vele RMS abafundi sophinde babanjwe inkunzi. ICS turnaround time for ama-repairs. Uhambisa laptop ka-ICS, they take 4 weeks just to fix a mere screen. We need to tackle the issue of ICS uthi mawubisa laptop for repairs at least 3 working days to 7 working days, not 2 weeks. Increase student support services staff. At Gate 1 support unit, we only have ama-counselor I2, but Howard has 19,000 students. And humanities is the biggest college of kuyibona abafundi abasafarisha kakhulu. UKZN has capacity to provide these services, but iyafela. So we ensure ukuthi UKZN does provide these services. Also we-issue ama-laptops. Abantu abafike 2018 going back, ama-laptops wabo aseyabed. I-green zihlephukile zinani. Last year there were provisions made by the SRC and the university management ukuthi abantu abadala they will be given ama-laptops. There hasn't been any development with regards to that, and we will make it follow up and ensure ukuthi abantu abadeserve ama-laptops bayawathola. Academic exclusion. The current academic exclusion policy is flawed. Together with the mentoring system, let us mentor abantu as early as test 1. Let us not wait up until umuntu afeyile kuma change kuma ingenele university. You fail test 1 asingenele lapho singama mentor university ingenele lapho yini inkinga, how can we assist, then see move to increase a pass rate. Staff currently, in particular of humanities, because we want inkinga eziningi. Every year maqala unyaka or rather maqala semester, ama-principal administrators ahleze on leave. We send emails bakushanga auto reply away. Sizobuya ngesikhathi esiwukuthi uthola ukuthi izinto kugcina kune backlog. Istaff asibuye sonke ecampusini to ensure ukuthi wonke umfundi uya assisteka ngesikhathi. To date khona abafundi ama-change of curriculum wabo angaka capture, but sesibhalile test 1 sibheke test 2 sesisubmithile even ama-assignments, but yet khona abafundi abangekho registered due to incompetent staff. I promise as chairperson to reduce the amount of stress for our year so that you don't shed a tear. I guarantee I am sincere. No matter the hardship we face, I know we will persevere. When elected, I will continue to fight for equality for our student body. I exemplify passionate, self-driven advocacy on behalf of all of us. I am the epitome of trust. I care about your interest and voice. Come and together, I want to make you guys realize that coming to UKZN Howard College isn't bad choice at all. We indeed live by our motto, inspiring greatness. In conclusion, I would therefore like to encourage you to vote for EFFSC in the upcoming SRC elections on the 6th, 7th and 8th of October. Also kindly vote for me, Nkululeko Khanyeza, for campus chairperson. I thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice. A smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background. To strike with X. To strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
No, ngizoqala ngibingelele abahlali base Howard College nase UKZN iyonkana. Cha lo phambi kwenu usabelo gift wakaphe uSibongo incoming chairperson no deploy isasco KK Papiane branch. Comrades and students. Ngizoqala ngithinte kwi-issue ye-security. Of the issues esibhekene nawo ecampusini esensitive i-issue ye-security. Ngiphambi kwenu nje as uformer or current REO uMasendwa Howard College sinenkinga ye-security system noma RMS esingasho ukuthi awukho exist emacampusini ethu or eHoward College. Sikhuluma nje imoto eziwu10 last week eHoward College iyodwa nje ekhona emagcekeni imoto zaka RMS zithathiwe.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations.
No, ngizoqala ngibingelele abahlali base Howard College nase UKZN iyonkana. Cha lo phambi kwenu usabelo gift wakaphe uSibongo incoming chairperson no deploy isasco KK Papiane branch. Comrades and students. Ngizoqala ngithinte kwi-issue ye-security. One of the issues esibhekene nawo ecampusini esensitive i-issue ye-security. Ngiphambi kwenu nje as uformer or current REO uMasendwa Howard College
sinenkinga ye security system noma RMS esingasho ukuthi awukho exist emacampusini ethu or eHoward College. Sikhuluma nje imoto ezu10 last week eHoward College iyodwa nje. Ekhona emagcikeni imoto zaka RMS zithathiwe akwaziwa namhlanje ukuthi sishone place moto sintshontshiwe. Kwaphinda futhi ukuthi akucinanga lapho ehamba into ukuthi yazathinta istaff sakhona salaliswa ngezisu lapha phansi. Even namhlanje istaff sakhona sikaze sathola icounseling or even ama students lawa ayekade khona kwama premises leso sikhathi athola icounseling kuzube namhlanje. So sizodemanda simesingena la ukuthi RMS ahamba ukhanselisha laba abantu aba40 nodadewethu abasebenzayo labayana because laba abantu abasebenza lapha bazona izilwane. Okwesibili ukuthi kunesikole nokune campus ekuthiwa no ngizothinta okwesibili kule issue security ikune residence ekuthiwa iLouis Botha neEJ eku Princess Alice ngisho ukuthi isidleke noma ihotspot sobugebengu zonke igebengu meyifuna ukuzodlala kuleya mgaqo loyayana. And every day si experience in the presence of ilentuzo fidelity oqashwe kanye no RMS. Sinenkinga ukuthi kubanjwe inkunzi uphucwa ama laptop ingane mezi ecampusini kungenwa ngaphakathi kuthathwa ifurniture kuthathwa ama TV kungena ema roomini ama students kuthathwa ama laptop. Kuzube namhlanje lo ma students ane trauma kaze ukuthi ahanjiswe counseling ngo offerishe any support. Nazo lezo impahla ne belongings awo akaze abuyiswa wa recover university kuthulakele ungazi ukuthi yonke into ihamba kahle. Sithi masingena ke thina sonyakazisa kuyona yonke into lapha ka RMS usupervisor nani manager khona RMS ugatsheni ukuthi abasukume bakhuphula amasokisi baqhamuke nendlela ezintsha zokuthi basebenzisane nomadele nobugebengu kule yandawo ekuthiwa Princess Alice kanye neuniversity iyonkana. Ngiqhubeka kule kwama issues esibhekene nawo as ama students kunama cases euniversity esingasho ukuthi a sensitive or a priority kuthina as ama student leaders ngizothatha iissue yama rape cases. Kunama students namhlanje ahleli angakwazi ukuthi aye kwa RMS nendlela ekusetshenziswana ngayo noma RMS nawo awukho knowledgeable ekuthenini kudilwa kanje nama cases afana nalawo. So I proposal or into engizoyidemanda mangena mina because ngisebenzeni as uRAO or uMaster wase Howard College ngikubonile ukuthi ayikho irelationship between RMS kanye nama outside stakeholders oku Department of Health ukuthi akube khona uhlelo olukhona oluzosebenzela RMS University as ama students ama stakeholders nama external stakeholders ekuthenini senze sure ukuthi umfundi uma kuthi uhlumezekile resi wenza kanjani and athina ama steps ngoba sifika lapha ko supervisor abangazilutho ne staff sakhona ka RMS esingazilutho when it comes to ama rape cases. So sifuna ukuthi sizoqinisa lapho noma sofuqinisa mabhawoti kulowo ndawo leyo. Ngizothinta i-student support service naye ethinta ezenhlala kahle noma ethinta ukuphila kwabafundi emacampusini okwabahlali. Usasa uyothi liphela usuku laMonday kahle noma lothi liphela leli sonto esikulona ngoba ngisasemkhandweni nje umakhosi uyobeqala ukuthi asebenze. Sesikhathele ukuthi university ibukele phansi abantu abagulayo noma abantu abasebenzisa amakhambe ezulu nabantu abasebenza ngezinto zezulu. Kodwa mekuthiwa sekufanele umuntu ozosebenzisa izinto zaDokotela noma sekufanele aproduce izinto zikaDokotela mekuthi akwazanga ukubhala itest akwazanga ukubhala iexam akwazanga ukwenza submission izothathwa entertain leyo ncwadi. Kodwa akwazi ukuthi umakhosi eHoward College umakhosi eJude ukuthi umfundi aprovide into yokusho ukuthi cha bengivuke izinto zami ekumele ukuthi mhlambe ngihamba ngoshunqiselwa noma ngihambe ngokuphuza something assist umakhosi. Siyacela ukuthi nazo noma sizowenza sure ukuthi lezo zincwadi bayakwazi ukuthi bazi entertain abafundi nabo ibe nesisindo sifanayo nomuntu oyekwaDokotela lapha eNtabeni Hospital. Mase ngizothinta elama psychologist i-psychological health yama students especially kulesi sikhathi esikusona si abnormal ese COVID ziningi izinto ezitriggerisha ukuthi uphazamiseke emqondweni noma ungabe right nabantu ama students aba overwhelmed ngenxa yemisebenzi yesikole. Sikhuluma ngama first year students abuya emakhaya endaweni la abangathatha entweni. So mayifika ama students la university kuningi okwenzakala ngesikhathi esincane. So bayaphazamiseka nenkinga mhlawumbe zasemakhaya ngokunjalo. Sithi thina masifika ke i-Howard College inama colleges ngokuhlukana kwawo. I-college ne-college kuzomela ukuthi mekusuka namhlanje ikwazi ukuthi ibe namalentuzi nama-psychologist. Nakhona siwathathe emoyeni ama-psychologist. Ma-psychologist nama-students ayenza ama-masters nama-PhD candidates. Sithatha labo bantu sobanikeza i-practical work bazosebenza labo ma-psychologist. Asikwazi ukuthi sikhale ukuthi si-short staff ukuthi i-College of Humanities kunabantu abawuthiwa ama-psychologists nabo ozothi ufa namhlanje udinga assistance ithiwa send i-email uqhamuke next week uyobe ungasekho next week ngoba vele unenkinga manje. So ukuthi bazame ukuba ba-proactive noma sibenze sure ukuthi baba proactive. Ngizothinta ne-exclusion. University kulonyaka uwodwa nje I think si postpone noma si delay no more than 5 times indaba ye registration ngokuhlukana kwayo because nabo abanayi indlela uhlelo oluqondile lokusebenza ngezinto za online. Into online ayisho ukuthi kufanele uqale phansi udownload leli phepha uliprinte uligcwalise uliscan ulibuyisele kubona. Into online yonke into efanele sikwazi ukuyifica khona online ikwazi ukuba flexible ingaphindi futhi ithi mina angithathe print out iphepha ngiligcwalise ngilisubmit ku university. So sithi thina ku exclusion okwenza ka right nakwenzena ka left. University so far ihlulekile ukulungisa into ya online. So ayingabe isicindezela ama students uma ukuthi awenzi kahle kwizimo za online ngoba sikhuluma ngumfundi la ongakaze mhlamba ayibona i-laptop phambi kwamehla akhe oyobe eqala ngqa. So and ayikho i-support eqhama ku-university ezowenza ukuthi umfundi lo akwazi ukuthi understand i-computer or understand izinto za online. Ngizoqhubeka ngithinte i-rotation of staff university. E-Howard College nje sikhuluma I think u-DSRA wodwa onestaff esisebenza every day sifike ecampusini esikwazi wena physical interaction nama students but wonke lamanye amalentuza ama departments afrustrate ama students ngenxa ukuthi awaphendula ama email. Umsebenzi usehlele ekhaya unenkinga zakhe ukhalelwa ingane lapha yana akwazi ukuthi aphendule email ngesikhathi nama students ngala isikhathi endabuya azophusha thina or azokhalela thina as ama student leaders ukuthi no angiphendule email nawe uzophinda futhi usende yona lo email ezofika inga entertain lapha noma izitho. So senza sure ukuthi at least I rotate namhlanje ukhona uMamkhize kusasa ukhona uMrs Night yabo bashintshane kanjalo but kube nohlelo olukhona engabuthi wonke umuntu uhlele ekhaya akekho umuntu ofika ecampusini. So sizokwenza sure ukuthi bonke abantu bayathola ecampusini or accessible futhi bayakwazi ukuthi nabo babe proactive in response of ama student issues. Bese ngizothinta kule ama postgrad. Ama postgrad abanye abantu ofike ba recognize ukuthi abanazi izinto abanayo imali or abanakho abathatha entweni kade receive NSFAS ku undergrad masifa ku postgrad usumlahlelela kanjalo. Sithi ke thina ke angabe khona umfundo la lengadlili especially ama postgrad lawa selahliwe umfundi university or ngokwama colleges nanga kwama schools kunezimali efanele bahambe ezikhona kwemanje kuphela ukuthi aziyutilize ahlela ama college ahlela ama schools nalezi imali azithi ke uma ngithatha abantu abawu10 as human applied ngathatha abantu abawu10 as social sciences fanele ngikwazi ukuthi ngiprepare i-funding yabantu abawu10 abazongena ngithatha no-Ukzn bursary ne-funding yona le esinayo as ama schools nama college akwazi ukuthi hamba o-fundraise abuya azofunda labo bantu abawu10 kwi-honors level. Mase iyadlula iyothinda le nto efrustratayo nento ecomplicated ne-university evele inikeza ama-students ne-staff sakhona esingayi-understand ekuthiwa NRF yanti yadileya ijike izofunda abantu abawu2 humanities ungaka. Siyacela ukuthi siyafuna futhi ukuthi yenzeke lento ukuthi university iqhamuke ne-committee noma iqhamuke ne-team ezokwazi ukufundisa abantu nge-NRF umeqeda ufundisa abantu nge-NRF mase iyakwazi ukuthi iyenze ingabi complicated ngale yandlela, yenze sure ukuthi futhi i-selection system yakhona yenze sure ukuthi iyayicoverisha wonke equally amalentuza ama colleges ngokuhlukana kwawo. Ungabi khona i-college edelelekile ebukela phansi izothatha abantu abawu10 ngala kuthatha umuntu oyedwa. So eyokugcina i-university kunomgaqo lo Princess Alice. Okuswa namhlanje sizo advocate ezisasco nama comrades lawa esizongena nawo emkhandlwini ekuthenini Princess Alice wonke ube ngaphansi kweuniversity ngoba uhamba unqamula la ngaphakathi euniversity. That is why siba nenkinga siba nobugebengu. Uthi kuthiwa i-university umgaqo wamasipala. Imasipala uthi hayi university nama resident ukuhlala ama residents e-university lapha. So to avoid lokho kufanele ukuthi lo mgaqo ubuye ngaphansi kweuniversity yonke into ibe ngaphakathi sikwazi ukuthi sidila namapha ama issues imapha adila nomasipala imapha adila neuniversity. Masidlula lapho 100 beds esudingayo ngokubuka njengoma stand osakhona la Howard College SRC yakhona. Kuna 100 beds efanele uedwe lapha yani wama residences. Ukuthi kube khona i-rest nakhona ezokwazi umumatha umthamo ngoba siyibona ukuthi kunenkinga of campus ekutheni ayikho consistent when it comes to security nama lentuze nama issues athinta i-Wi-Fi. Ine-rest ekuthiwa i-seaboard. Le rest umfundi fanele azayo e-toilet ukuze akwazi a-connect to i-Wi-Fi. So le kufanele sikwazi ukuthi okwenza ka right kwenzeke naka left ne-consistency e-university. At least azama ukuthi investe kangconywana ekwakheni ama residences ngaphakathi e-university. Ukuthi sifake no 100 beds and then going forward sizoboss eda kanjani. Nalento ukuthi ama students enziwa igqila avalelwe ema residences ngo11 o'clock azofakelwa amaketango lapha yani. The thing must not happen. Le yanto kumele okusuka namhlanje ifanele inqanyulwe amaketango akho umfundi ofanele afayile iketango umfundi akusona isigqila kwane sesivale amaketango ngenxa yekhefu bese ukuthi ama student nama visit ukuthi angikwazi university ithi ngiyakwazi ukuhlangana emaleni ikwazi ukuhlangana ema library but awukwazi ukuqhubeka nomsebenzi owodwa ade niwenze library nowenze endlini. Yes mhlambe sesingayilimita indlela ama visitors azongena ngayo but ama visitors kumele avumeleke. Kusuka namhlanje sizokhuluma nayo i-return task team e-university ukuthi ama students akwazi ukuthi avakashelani but uma umuna i-permit kwazi ukuthi uvashele omunye umfundi niqhubeke nomsebenzi wesikole. Amandla.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations.
Colleagues, and especially colleagues of medical school whom I'm being sent to represent Sanborn. My name is Tolmusa Sbia, the candidate for campus chairperson for the 2021-2022 MCRC under the very big banner of SASCO. It is worth appreciating that we find ourselves in a critical transition in a dynamic terrain which requires consistency and fresh ideas to adapt to what the pandemic has and is still throwing at us. A time where we need leaders who will uncompromisingly echo the voice of students in all spheres. Leaders who are able to strike a balance between bringing about robust yet meaningful changes. And it makes me so proud to say such is the leadership that SASCO is sending to you for the 2021-2022 term. Leadership that has been groomed and prepared for such a task in different spheres of medical school. I have led in the 2019-2020 MCRC as the college representative of the College of Health Sciences. I have also led as the SASCO Medical School Political Education and as the Academic and Transformation Officer. And I led in the House Committee of TAFTA as the Secretary and as the class representative of my class in 2019. Having been exposed to all these leadership platforms, I know it is very tempting to sit here and make all the promises that I know you want to hear so that I can win your hearts over. In the end, there is but one assurance that I can make to you, that this SASCO-led MCRC will ensure that the interests of students are represented to their very best. So much so that when we look back 12 months from now, we can gladly say we have honored the expectations and we have left medical school a better environment than what we found it to be, not only for ourselves, but for those who are yet to come to medical school. Now, our primary reason for coming here is not merely to win issues which always derail us from the bigger things we can achieve for ourselves and for our betterment. Yes, we are aware of the issues and we will deal with them, but this time we are not only treating the symptoms. This time we are finding the cause and pulling it up by its roots. We never want the SASCO manifesto to always have issues like mental health issues, security in residences, Wi-Fi and a high failure rate. It must all come to an end. We are here to change the policies that bring about all these issues, that do not take into consideration the uniqueness of our curriculum, because it is these very policies which hinder our progress when it submits these issues. Ours is to uproot these issues and not merely scrape them off the surface. As long as there's an unchanged policy that states that the intake in residences of medical school is 150 per year, while 250 students are into the system, it means that there are about 100 students which are always unaccounted for. As long as there are policies which tie our dates and rules with that of other students who write their exams twice a year, while ours are written every 6 weeks for some of our students. As long as there are rules which, when you read them, you can clearly see that they were never meant to protect students from harm, but only exist to do damage control when the damage has already been done. As long as we serve under these rules, we will always be reactionary in our approach. We will always be a medical school community who, when we are not trying to find our way out of medical school, we are always trying to find and win issues, deterring us from coming up with more proactive and more innovative ideas to better ourselves and to look at ourselves beyond this MPCHB. These words are not a rhetoric of promises. What gives us confidence is that SASCO has done it before. When the SASCO-led MCRC of 2018 and 2019 successfully called for a review of the academic monitoring and exclusions policy, which was meant to purge medical students, and brutally so. So, colleagues, we have a blueprint. We have past question papers and its answers are highlighted in green and yellow. Ours is just to come into office and execute. SASCO is not foreign to execution. It is supported by the fact that the SASCO BC of 2020-2021, despite all restrictions and limitations, was able to launch a sanitary pad drive where SASCO drove the donation of sanitary towels to provide for our colleagues who cannot provide for themselves. We were also able to do a community outreach program where clothes were donated to our first entry students and to the Bonella Children's Home. We also participated in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence by raising awareness online. This is the same SASCO which has successfully maintained 0% financial exclusion in medical school, which has launched a very successful book loan scheme for unfunded students and ensures safeguarding of the admissions policy. This is the same SASCO which has sourced funding for our mature students, which strives for the integration of the Nelson Mandela Fidel Castro students and ensured food security among students. Sir William Osler says one of the duties of a great physician is to educate masses so that they don't have to take medicine. So I will not be doing justice, colleagues, if I don't caution you against this. Medical school is not a lab for experimentation, and we will not start experimenting with our votes in October. There is no 1 month trial period for the SRC. The decision we make on that ballot paper will have to stick with them until the next elections, which is why SASCO is bringing to you the very best from our ranks to represent your interests. We bring comrades who understand the seriousness of the cause of the current generation of medical school. On the 6th to 8th, we urge you to vote for SASCO for all portfolios and vote for Fanele Gina for college rep. Let us go and vote for leadership that carries the best interest of heart. Let us vote for Abaholi, who will not only make sure that you graduate, but that we do so unbowed, unbent, and unbroken. Thank you.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike, to to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard.
Fellow colleagues, please receive my humble greetings. My name is Nomthanda Masango. I am a 50th year class rep and I am contesting for chairperson. I consider myself to be approachable, responsible, and also open to suggestions and corrections by the people I am leading. I am currently the 50th year class representative, the former MSCF Finance Officer for 2018-2019, the former MSCF Finance for 2019-2020, and also the UKZN SCF IAC. I've been in the committee for 2 years, and also EFFSC Education and Training Officer for 2020 and 2021. I believe I am ready to lead the whole medical school community due to the leadership I have gained over the years, and confidence that the help me lead successfully. Women are often undermined to be in high positions, especially chairperson. I'm rising up not only for myself, but for every woman. We need to believe in our capabilities. With that, in all the 5 campuses, I am the only female contestant that is running for chairperson. This further emphasizes that there's still a gap that still needs to be filled. I'm not saying one should vote for me just because I'm a woman, but I'm saying the fact that I'm a woman should never be used as a lens that will prevent me from ascending to the highest office in medical school. One of the things I'm passionate about, I wish to execute should I be given a chance to be the chairperson, is how we as students are being treated by consultants in hospitals. We are being embarrassed, humiliated, it affects our self-esteem. This thing has been happening for quite some time and nobody cares to address the issue. I myself, having done my 4th-year pediatric block at Gandhi Hospital, have experienced this, and it's not only Gandhi Hospital. We need to eradicate this issue in our campus, not only for us who are now in School of Clinical Medicine, but also for those who are MS, so that when they're clinical medicine, they are already covered. And trust me, I cannot fight this being the class rep only, but I need to be in the SRC to be able to fight the system. It is not a secret that due to the already mentioned abuse happening in hospitals and other stress factors, including the academic workload, that as students we are facing mental issues in our campus, and there is still stigma against mental issues. I had to see a sector my 4th-year pediatric because of that, and some other students are also facing the issue, but they are afraid of actually being labeled as weak, especially males. We need to eradicate that stigma in our campus. We can have support group structures above, on top of the issues that is already provided to us. EFFSC is committed to quality and free education, one of the 6 founding principles of EFFSC. It is no secret that medical school has been led by one organization for quite some time, and it is time that we actually introduce change. We believe and we are committed to bring change in our campus, and should we be given a chance or a privilege to lead the things we are hoping to achieve. Number 1, we as EFFSC advocate for transparency and accountability in all we do. This is by having SPMs that will allow communication between students and also the SRC, so you'll be able to voice out your issues. We can have provide minutes after the MCRC sits in the minutes so that the information can be related with time. We will also quarterly reports that will be compiled and also to the medical school campus as a whole, so that issues can be followed up by students, and it also allow continuing of issues and their resolution. To deal with the imminent financial exclusion problem that we actually face in our campus, we are planning to have fundraising strategies that are sustainable throughout the year. Number 1, we'll have these are some of the things we have in mind. We can have the alumni trust fund, or rather a fund where the alumni will be donating throughout the whole year. We can have we can start the GOMI pay run MCRC, and also we will advocate that students who have surplus in their student accounts be allowed to share, or rather donate their supplies to those students who are and those who are in financial debt. As students that have residents were moved with very poor consultation and engagement with them, and were moved to residences which are even worse than those that we were in Tafta. The students were scattered and displaced in all over around Durban. We as SC, we acted to finding a rest that will accommodate all the students from Tafta with conducive environment and also functioning Wi-Fi. Also, we will advocate for the Global Protect to return to its previous status or system where one could access the internet through Global Protect alone. And if that fails, then we will advocate remove Global Protect at all, because it is causing restraint to our students. Students have the right to access campus at all times, and also their facilities. And the distance from campus and your residences shouldn't matter. We should providing transportation that is consistent and standard for all students, especially those that were residing in Tafta, so that everyone can have enough access to the campus. Healthcare is an imperative part of, and we as students deserve access to it. The clinic in our campus needs to be student-friendly in such a way that it will accommodate even students from School of Clinical Medicine, where we will advocate to extend the time until 7 p.m. and also open on a Saturday from 8 until 12 p.m. so that students from clinical medicine can be able to access that, because other hospitals, their staff clinic do not allow us to be there. And imagine if you have a needle stick injury at 3 p.m. and when you get to campus, it is already closed. We will also advocate to have at least one sports day each semester, and also provide to the already sports club in terms of transport. Then the administration in our campus is very poor. For example, you'll find that the admin will release unedited results, and students will have been passed. And then before sub-exams, students will be receiving course that they are supposed to write an exam. Then explain to me, how do you expect the students to accept that, study, and go to write an exam with a healthy mind or with a mental health? And at the end of the day, it's not the students' problem that they were in the system. And this thing has been happening for quite too long, and nobody cares to address that. Having better, we'll also advocate to have a better integration between from the student part of the Nelson Mandela Fidel Castro program into our campus. We'll do this by providing support whereby we'll finalists to actually mentor the incoming students from Cuba, so that they can have academic support, and then they can also feel as UKZN students. Indeed, as the organization, bring and well-balanced, of course, we have and 3 males. And also, these candidates are not just capable, but these are leaders with an accurate representation of medical school. Before I close, I want to dispel this myth that has been going on for quite some time and has plagued the medical school fraternity. I would like to state unequivocally that the EFFSC is not a violent organization, and the candidates are a proof of that. Thank you so much. Amandla.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard, and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice. A smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have? Your future. What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice. A smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure that your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy.
Greetings to all UKZN students, in particular
and
students
sometimes
of
you feel like
UKZN
your
Edu
voice
campus.
is not being heard. And
Here
you're left with no
speaking
option
is Mpho
than to
Rapule,
strike.
the candidate for the portfolio of campus chairperson deployed by the EFFSC. I'm going to be briefing students about the manifesto of the EFFSC UKZN Edu branch.
Striking.
I would like
What
to
good
highlight
does it
that
do
our
if
manifesto
we
is
end
not
up
a
banning the
manifesto
only thing that you
because we are going to this election period. We
What if
want
I
to
were
make
to
it
tell
clear
you that
that
you have a
we have set commitment that we are going
voice,
to go
a
to
smart
office
way to
and
strike,
deliver
to strike
not only a
responsibly,
manifesto but
strike with
a set
freedom,
of commitments.
to strike with power.
I'll highlight that as we greetings to all UKZN students, in particular students of UKZN Edu campus. Here speaking is Mpho Rapule, the candidate for the portfolio of campus chairperson deployed by the EFFSC. I'm going to be briefing students about the manifesto of the EFFSC UKZN Edu branch, and I would like to highlight that our manifesto is not a manifesto because we are going to this election period. One, to make it clear that we have set commitment that we are going to go to office and deliver to students, not only a manifesto but a set of commitment. I would like to highlight that as we are going to a successful election, one leaders who are going to represent students, one leaders ensure that students are met, one leaders going to take mandates from students, not people who are going to translate text messages or emails from management to students. Firstly, on student funding issues, we have seen, in particular this year, where students have struggled in relation to their allowances, whereby students will receive as around the 5th and also month end. So this date constant, which makes it very difficult for students to budget and to plan for how are they going to use their money. As the EFFSC, ECRC voted for by students, we are going to ensure that NSFAS cycling, if it's one beginning of the month, it's going to be like that. If we are saying that on the 5th, it's going to be on the 5th. Nothing's going to change under the leadership of the EFFSC. And also, through engaging with the SRC executive and also student structures that represent student formations such as SAWUS, we're going to, as the SRC, we're going to lobby for at least an increase of allowances, because we feel that every year prices of food increase, but the allowances have been like they've been remaining, not changing at all. So we like to put it clear to the management. We know it's national, but we're going to try by all means to at least increase the allowances. As part of student funding issues, also as the EFFSC, ECRC, we're going to ensure that all students with historic debts are cleared. Don't want beginning of year student can't register because of historic debts. We're going to ensure that those historic debts are cleared so that they can register. Through how? Through trust funds, and also engaging on that, on the issue of students coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. All students from disadvantaged background, meaning students with a combined family income of below 350,000, must register for free, must be cleared their historic debts. We're going to, however, as soon as we enter office, start with the financial concession, start with the issue of 15%. We're going to make it clear to the EMC, the executive management, that we want this concession, financial concession, how students register, January, February, they must be favorable to students. Moving on to resident issues. We have issues of many unconducive residences. Mostly, usually, they would like to put first year student and PGCE because they don't know anything. And some students who cannot speak on their own, they'll just put them in these unconducive residences. At Edgewood, we know them. And we're going to start with them as soon as we enter office. We know them where they, a room that's supposed to be a single, you'll find that there are 4 people in a single room. We're going to apply logic in our approach. Firstly, we know the guidelines. We know how many square meters a single room should be. So we're going to ensure that we guide that process. If a room is a single room, must be a single, must not be a double. A double must not be a 4 sleep. That will be achieved under the leadership of the EFFSC. And also, the issue of Wi-Fi, poor connectivity, that will be addressed also, especially in residences that are off campus. But recently, we've also seen on campus struggling with Wi-Fi. That because we do not have proper people in governance to represent students. We're going to ensure that we fight that issue. Also, moving on to the issue of visitors, we understand obviously that we have to abide by the guidelines of COVID-19, but it should not be a jail. It's not supposed to be a jail. It's just for us to be safe. It should not be a jail. So visitors must be allowed in a manner that is not going to spread this COVID-19. Moving on to the issue of PA students. For the first time in history, this year it was the first time where we saw almost all NSFAS students who wanted to reside at PAs. They were never granted that opportunity. So when we go inside the offices, EFFSC, we are going to clearly present what is there, what is written down, that students must reside wherever they want to, as long as they are funded. If you want to go to PA, you must go to PA. No one must stop you and say, because we have NSFAS. There's no difference between NSFAS and phones. Students must be allowed to reside wherever they want.
Moving on to academics. Academics, as the EFFSC, we strongly believe in academic excellence. Working together with the college representative, we are going to ensure that the class representative are able to work together with the ECRC, so that when they raise issues of pertaining academics, at least it's clear, it's easily for them to be addressed, those issues, because there's coordination. There's the class reps, there's the college rep, there's the collective structure, so that we'll be able to raise even issues affecting academics to the executive management. We want to make it clear that when FFS is in office, we want that physical graduation in office when we're in office from next year. The 218 in Edgewood campus, they must have physical graduation. And also, supplementary exam were replaced by catch-up. If we continue with online learning, there must be catch-up. We're uncompromising on that position as the EFFSC. Moving on, we've seen over the past years, especially in Edgewood, in relation to the issue of postgraduate intake, it seems like we know that there are no jobs, but we want to study, they don't want to take you, At least we are going to propose from the target that the management have, we are going to propose an intake as soon as we enter. We know that application will close on the 30th of September. Then they will start the selection processes and so on. By that time, when the selection process are ongoing, EFFS will be in office. EFFS will ensure that the intake of postgraduates increases. On the issue of security, as part of our commitment and manifesto, want to commit ourselves to ensuring that each and every student is safe in his or her own residence. Hence why we'll ensure that we know some residences just go and end. There's no security, there's nothing, only an RA in housecom. All residents must have security. It's clear like that. And also RMS must assist in because we have a many private accommodation in Ashley, so in Maran Hill, around our campus, and also in Pinetown. So RMS must also patrol, because they sometimes sit, not that they do nothing, but sometimes they sit. At least if they can patrol, some students have lost their laptops, belongings, and cell phones, because there's no security, especially students of private accommodation. They seem neglected in that aspect of security. On health, we commit ourselves as the EFFSC to ensure that the clinic operates for 24 hours. Should not 24 hours, there should be measures in place to assist students in cases of emergencies. As part of health, also the EFFSC incoming ECRC will be also distributing free sanitary towels to female students and cosmetics, and to ensure that students are healthy, they are well taken care of. We also want to address the issue of psychological health or mental health. We are going to work with student support services to ensure we know that the processes in place, but we are going to work with student support services to ensure that knowledge reaches students in case they are depressed, in case they have anxiety, so that the mental aspect of health will be also addressed. Food security. We have students without funding. We know that. We know it's public knowledge. As the EFFSC, ECRC, we are going to launch a 1 meal per day campaign to at least try and assist where we can. Also, under food and food security, want when these cafeterias return, want their number to be increased, want to see students selling in cafeterias. They should be involved also, and also want those prices must be decreased, because they are not student friendly. We know them. They must be decreased. Students themselves must be involved also in the process of selling, that they can also make a living. In sports, the EFFSC, ECRC, will ensure that it supports all sporting code, not a certain sporting code, but all of them. And we are going to have sports days and tournaments in various sporting codes that are available, so that students can keep fit and exercise. As the EFFSC, we strongly believe in addressing the issue of gender inequality. Hence why we'll have seminars, awareness campaign about the gender issues, because we've seen in some universities where a female student is murdered, is raped, all those bad things. Now they are still going to come here. So that's why we must ensure that we conscientize the society. We must ensure that we have awareness campaign. We must have campaign against gender-based violence to address the inequalities in our institutions and society as a whole. Our manifesto is a very comprehensive document or commitment. Now, we're also going to have social gatherings, so the students will distress after they have, after they've studied their academics. So we'll have social gatherings. Students know themselves. When we speak of social gathering, what do we refer to? Under the EFFSC, ECRC, we are going to experience that. I thank you very much.
Tertiary education is not easy.
Sibingelele kubafundi base University yaKwaZulu Natal yonkana, siphinde sibingelele phecelezi kubafundi base Ukzn Education Campus. Lo ukhulumayo uSizwe Gina, who is currently serving as an SRC at Education Campus under the portfolio of the college rep, who is also the incoming campus chairperson of Education Campus deployed by SASCO. I'm here to deliver the manifesto of the incoming SRC that is deployed by SASCO as the head of the structure. As an SRC, I believe that all issues are equal. All issues that are affecting our students should be treated as equal. Whenever the student gives us an issue as an SRC, we believe that we have to treat all those issues equal as they are. As I've mentioned, that all issues are equal, but allow me to start with the first issue of security. Le issue lengiyichaze kanje ye-security ibaluleke kakhulu ngoba ithinta impilo zethu sabafundi. Emhlabeni uNkulunkulu wasipha impilo eyodwa, siyiphila kanye. This is why ngithi ngizoqala ngale issue, because kwenye yama-race yethu ase-Education Campus inagina sike saba nenkinga whereby kwagqekezwa 2 times in a row. Ugqekeza abantu who are fully armed, bephethe ibhamu, and those people bathatha yonke into yabafundi, bathatha ama-study gadgets abafundi. Sike saba ne-crisis nje abafundi basenagina bengakwazi ukufunda because kwagqekezwa kulawo ma-residents. Bathatha ama-study gadgets, bathatha ama-laptops, bathatha ama-iPhone, ama-phones abo, bathatha ama-router, bathatha ama-Wi-Fis. So as an incoming SRC, into esifuna ukuyenza, sifuna ukwenza sure ukuthi wonke ama-res ase-UKZN Education Campus kunama-security companies that must patrol 24 hours kuona lawo ma residences beside security lawa aqashwe university RMS. There should be another security company that will be fully armed, because we understand and we know that RMS yase UKZN ayikho fully armed. It's we risk ukuthatha impilo zabafundi uyihlalise kuma res whereby kunama security angekho fully armed. So sifuna ukwenza isiqiniseko sokuthi i-res ne-res kuma res ase Pinetown, ama res ase Education Campus, ama res ase town, kunama security companies that will patrol 24 hours. And enye into ebalekile ngalama security company lawo ekumele ibe khona, sabafundi siyazi ukuthi e-university sizela ukuzofunda, and ukufunda kwethu akufani sabafundi, sihlukene, angeke silibaleke lelo qiniso. Kunabafundi abakwazi ukufunda emini, kunabafundi abakwazi ukufunda ebusuku, kunabafundi abantu abafunda ebusuku bekhathale bezizwe ngazi ukuthi bafuna some sort of energy drink. Lawo ma security company lawa azobe patroller kumele kube i-responsibility yawo uku-escort ama students njalo uma kuthi ama students ayafunda ebusuku afuna ukuyothenga energy drink egarage. Ama student must feel safe, and kusiba nama crisis ebusuku uthola ukuthi umfundi because kuyenzeka umfundi axinwe isifo esithize aphathwe ikhanda ebusuku, and umfundi usuke edinga ini ama painkillers, akasakwazi ukuphuma eres ngaphandle yothenga ini ama painkillers. So those security companies that will be fully armed are the same security company that must escort abafundi bethu bebayise ema garage bethenge lokho abakuthengayo bebabuyise. Sakwi point lama security ama res onke ase Education Campus kumele ba install ama camera footages. Akusile iqiniso ukuthi kungakhona umfundi engathi eres sihlala sonke res kukhulunywa indaba ukuthi umfundi ulahlekelwe i-laptop eres, angenanga omunye umuntu wangaphandle uthothelwe i-laptop umuntu wase res, and lawo macala lawo awatrace kalula. Sibe nenkinga nje yonke leminyaka umuntu ontshentshwele cellphone yakhe eres yakhe iphume eyocharger ehambe yopheka ethi mayithi uyabuya ayisekho cellphone yakhe. Wonke ama res ase Education Campus kumele be-install ama camera footages ukunciphisa ubugebengu residents, because siyazi ukuthi sabantu asifani, bakhona abantu abanesandla ezilula, bakhona futhi abanye abangenazandla ezilula. So ama camera footages kumele afakwe. Number 3, ama security akade university iRMS, labo bantu labo they must be fully armed. Akusile iqiniso ukuthi i-university yonke ingagadwa abantu abangaphatha ngisho ulutho. iRMS ihamba i-university yonke intantela ngeemonto, ayiphathi ngisho isibhamu, ayiphathi lutho. Ngelinye ilanga kuyowenzeka lento eyenzeke because na into eyenzeke inagcina ukugqekeza kwezigebengu ku-residents ekhona ama security, asazi ukuthi ingenzeka ngaphakathi e-university. iRMS kumele beyinikeze igunya lokuthi ibe fully armed ukuze izokwazi ukudefend ama students ethu. Number 2, iRMS inkinga esinayo UKZN isebenzisa inamba ka-031, inamba odinga ukuyifonela nge-time. Umfundi mayinenkinga eres kumele azabhaze thina si-SRC. SRC ngicela ningifonele iRMS ngiyagula, u-area ngimthole ocingweni noma u-area akana airtime. iRMS should have a free toll number as operator 24 hours. Umfundi akwazi ukuthi bayingenayo airtime avela shaya ucingo afonele iRMS acela usizo alidingayo. Mayidinga ambulance ebusuku akwazi ukufonela iRMS, makukhona okwenzakala ukudinga isimo sempepho akwazi ukuthi iRMS ayifonele free ngisho engenayo airtime. Number 2, sigraduate kuleli point size kwi point lama academics. As I've mentioned that I'm the currently serving college representative at Education Campus, the portfolio that deals with academic matters. I'm pleased to announce to students that about 90% of izinto esasithemba sokuthi sizozenzela abafundi e-office le-academics is-achievile. Mhlawumbe singasho ukuthi 10% kuphela singawachievanga, but low 10% akusho ukuthi asu-achievanga ngoba nakisifeyile, cha, asikaze safeyila thina e-office. Abafundi bayawazi lokho, and I'm sure njengoba lento bazobe beyibuka nabo bazofakaza bayakwazi lokho. Lo 10% lo esingakwazanga ukulungisa because of isikhathi esinikezwa zona as the SRC singano 11 month ukuthi ungalungisa zonke lezi inkinga lezi, but lo 10% lo thina njengamanje as an incoming SRC ne-structure sami sonke sobe singena naso, we are willing ukuthi siqhubeke la i-SRC yamanje egcine khona. Into yokuqala sifuna ukuyilungisa ngama academics structure se-new B8. Lesa structure se-new B8 esa introduced ngo-2019 sidala inkinga kubafundi bethu. Somehow it's not in favor of our students, because like for an example nje umzekelo seduze kunama students that are coming from different provinces. For an example e-Eastern Cape, umfundi obefunda e-Eastern Cape if i-home language yakhe bekuyisiXhosa, isiZulu bekuyi-first additional language yakhe, but uma isefike e-Education Campus le new B8 kwa foundation phase na kwa intermediate phase isho ukuthi wena enza isiZulu lesi esenziwa abantu ekade benza isiZulu as a home language. It can't be true ukuthi ngenziwa leyo nto ukuthi mina kade ngisuka ngenza isiXhosa as a home language mase ngifike eJude ngenza isiZulu esenziwa abantu akade benza isiZulu as a home language sifuna uinfluence ukuthi kube noshintsho lapha kwa foundation phase in terms of academics kwa foundation phase na kwa intermediate phase bayakwazi lokho abafundi inkinga leyo khona but njengamanje masingene office sizokwazi ukuthi sizame ukuinfluence ukuthi kube khona ushintsho kule BEd entsha. Number 2 njengoba sengichazile ukuthi ngumuntu oleader vele kuyona le portfolio ya college lapho edila nama academics and I have a privilege ukuthi ngeke ngahlala ku school board meeting kulonyaka sengeke ngenza ama submissions according to le issue engizokhuluma ngawo yama 219s abantu abenza unyaka wokugcina abantu abenza unyaka wesithathu benza unyaka wokugcina iBEd le introducewa ngo2019 yaqala ngabo ithi ngingenza umzekelo kule BEd yethu le old BEd thina is ama 219 ama 218 kuma teaching practices siya only 4 months but le BEd entsha ithi aba teaching practice masikwenza unyaka wokugcina uya 6 months sesiwenzile ama submissions uma singena ke office kuhle kakhulu ngoba we've already made submissions ku school board meeting siyoqhubeka la sigcine khona because siyawazi ama submissions esiwezile as a current SRC uma singena it will be very much easy siqhubeke nawo le process ayazi abafundi sike sa engage nawo ama 219 ayazi issues nawo ukuthi asikwazi ukuvumela ama students eye 6 months kuma teaching practice izathe ikhona sikhulumile nabafundi bayazazi kunabafundi abenze abama 219 ongenze ukuthi kune module angayiregisteranga first semester noma angazange ayipass 2019 efika noma kune module angayiphasanga 2020 enza unyaka wesibili noma wangaphasa enye module kulonyaka lo first semester uma kuthiwa abafundi abaye 6 months first semester wonke wangonyaka ozayo kuma teaching practice lama module lawa ama outstanding modules basho ukuthi university ayiwenze nini kusho umfundi abuye ngonyaka wes5 that is why we've already made submissions ukuthi sicela ukuthi akungabe kusabo 6 months at least lezi nyanga lezi ayinciphe at least kube no 3 months ukuze abafundi bezokwazi uma bebuye bekhave lama outstanding modules ukuze abafundi bezokwazi ukuqeda ama degree abo in record time a degree i4 years in record time so that is why sifake isicelo njengamanje sisifakele already isicelo ayazi ama students ke sa communicate nawo ukuthi sifuna ukuthi unciphe lo 6 months loyana and any issue esinayo issue ye TP allowance si eJude campus ke saba inenkinga eminyakeni edlule singenayo TP allowance but through upresident owayedeploy isas uComrade Phoyisa wasiza ukuthi sithole TP allowance but still lo TP allowance is not enough kwathina ezama 218 njoba de siya 4 months ayisikhave how much more kukhona umfundi ozoya 6 months kuma teaching practice ngele TP allowance encane so that is why we've already made a submission sicela ukuthi cha lo 4 months siyawubonga at least akubo 3 months ukuze abafundi bezokwazi ukuba accommodated nakulama modules ama outstanding kanjalo ne TP allowance ngidlule ngize kwi-issue yama residents kwi-issue yama residents into yokuqala masingena sifuna ukwenza sure ukuthi kuma residences are on campus there are renovations lama res on campus kade enziwa kade akhandwa singakafiki ngisho ukufika nathi euniversity but akaze kube khona renovation kuthiwa kuya renovate kulama res kufaka ama window amasha kukhipha iminyango emidala kufaka amakhabethe amasha abafundi ababefunda ngo2010 mayingaya kulawo ma res on campus uzofica the very same infrastructure ayehlala kuyona naye afikela kuyona so we want to make sure ukuthi there are renovations from lama residences on campus ama residents on campus bawaneglect kakhulu abantu aweka ama renovations so iyona into esifuna ukuyenza ukuqala leyo. Number 2 all UKZN list residences ama residences are off campus they should have UKZN data wifi. It can't be true ukuthi kuthiwe UKZN data izoba installed kuma residences on campus kuphela whereby abafundi bekhokha imali efanayo ima res wonke ama res aseJude campus kumele abe ne wifi ye UKZN data ukuze wonke umfundi azothi mayekwazi ukungena ngelaptop angabi nankinga mayithi umfundi ngoba sifunda online njengamanje ufuna ukuzobhala ngo1 kungabi nankinga ne wifi because lama res off campus kunama wifi abhedayo. Iqiniso lelo kunama wifi abhedayo kuthiwa kuyabhalwa online exam umfundi akana wifi iwifi kuthiwa ikhokheliwe kuma res but if sine UKZN data wifi kuona wonke ama res bonke abafundi bazoba covered lapho. Another issue uma sibheka i-issue yama PA wonke umfundi oqualifyayo according to NSFAS guidelines sizokwenza isiqiniseko sokuthi uyathola iPA. It can't be true ukuthi umfundi oqualifyayo ngokwama guidelines ka NSFAS kuthiwa kangayi akangayi kuyohlala kwiPA. I-university ayikwazi ukwenza lokho ke sizokwenza isiqiniseko sokuthi uma umfundi ufuna ukuhlala kuPA uyaqualify kule criteria ya NSFAS guidelines because ama guidelines so awazi clear ngawo nabafundi bayawazi so wenza isiqiniseko sokuthi abafundi bayawathola.
and kunama residences angenas ispace. It can't be true ukuthi kwi resi ene space esincane uthi akuthathwe for sleep. Sesilokho njenge SRC ekhona siyakulungisa lokho whereby ama students ahlala kuma res awu for sleeper siyawacela nje kahle usiwami uve siwayiso kwamanye ama res uma singene office siqhubeka la sigcine khona because awakaphili asakhona amanye ama residents ahlala ngo for sleeper. Si clear as an incoming SRC that is deployed by SASCO asibafuna for sleeper. Sifuna o2 sleeper kulawo ma rooms ane space esikhulu kulawo ma res ane space esincane sifuna one sleeper. Sesiqalile siyakwenza and noma singena it will be very simple for us because siqhubeka la sigcine khona vele. Ngidlule ngize kwi issue yama NSFAS of funding. Kuyi privilege ke kuthina si incoming SRC deployed by SASCO because at a national level uSASCO uno president general ohlala kwi board member ohlala kwi board member yawa NSFAS. Sike sa engage as an incoming SRC and he is willing to assist us. We want to make sure that we improve the situation ya NSFAS ecampusini yethu and sicelile yena upresident ukuthi akasikhulumele labantu ba NSFAS as an incoming SRC ukuthi sifuna ama NSFAS ama campus based NSFAS office. Sifuna kube khona office la NSFAS ecampusini yethu. Upresident weSASCO uyi board member yawa NSFAS. Sikhulumile naye as an incoming SRC, he is willing to assist us. Number 2, kule issue le yama NSFAS sifuna ukwenza sure ukuthi umfundi oqualifyayo ngawama guidelines aka NSFAS ukuthi athole uNSFAS and sifuna ukwenza sure ukuthi each and every year njalo maqala unyaka kakhulukazi lo nyaka ozoqala sikhona thina njengoba sobe singenile there must be an open internal applications ama NSFAS because kunabafundi abaqhamuka emakhaya njengami mina ngayiqhamukele enkandla ngingazi nokuthi contact to NSFAS njengoba ngingekho funded njengamanje I'm self funded because I didn't know to contact to NSFAS each and maqala unyaka kumele kube khona iNSFAS internal application yase ejut umfundi ethi mase registerile angenise office la NSFAS njengoba sisifuna ama campus based NSFAS office akwazi uku-apply NSFAS awuthole wonke umfundi ozofika ekade etheni ubengazi uku-apply NSFAS owakasithola ngesikhathi mase fikile ecampusini yethu asithole isikhathi sokuthi njani soku-apply NSFAS kube khona i-issue yama postgraduates le issue yama postgraduates uNSFAS uyenze kwa clear wathi ama PGCE awasizokwafanda but through ukusebenzisana ne management yakwi School of Education sesizamile ukusosa out ama funds and ama PGCE angonyaka ozayo azoba funded noma engeke zebe funded wonke but sizolokhu sizama working hand in hand with I school management committee sase Youth Campus but siyazama ukuthola ama funds siyaqiniseka ukuthi angeke ama students ama postgraduates angabe funded. Number 3 sisakhuluma ngale issue yama funding each and every year siyazi ukuthi kuhlezi kukhona abafundi abangenayo imali yokuregister because thina as an incoming SRC sibukele eduze leyo nto leyo. Last week we did invite ama teachers union because we are future teachers. Si invite isathu sa invite na how sakhuluma nabo abaphathi baye province sabatshela sathi si Youth Campus we are future teachers and we are future sathu members uma sesifike efieldini siyacela ukuthi each and every year maqala unyaka njengamanje sizovula isikhwama seSRC. Isikhwama seSRC leyo mali sacela kubona ukuthi sicela ukuthi besixhase ngemali ezoregistrisa abafundi bethu base Youth Campus. Kubhlungu ukuthi ubone umfundi wase Youth Campus ezokwenza unyaka wokugcina agcine ngaregister ngenxa ukuthi akanawo funding but because sesikhulumile nama teacher unions nama workers unions on how sizovula icampaign teacher fund a teacher. Leyo mali le abazobe beyiletha ama union ayiyikuthina njenge SRC ayiko bani isikhwameni seSRC ezokwazi ukuthi ezenjani iclearisha ama students during i-registration period ukuze abafundi bethu bekwazi ukuba njani ukuba registered. Nangenqamula awuthi saseqedele isho yokugcina masikhuluma ngama student services asidlali ke lapho ke iclinic it must be open for 24 hours. Ecampusini ama clinic ethanonisi kunama issues ubonisa umfundi lo muntu lo udinga udokotela akadinga unisi sidinga udokotela kulama issues la kulama clinic ase campusini that must operate 24 hours. Number 3 kunento sifuna ukuyidlulisa kubafundi as in current SRC sesizame ngayo yonke indlela besibona kweminye iminyaka bethi abafundi mabethi bazama bavula ipaza shop ema campusini kufika reme sithatha into zabo yise wezivile la wezivile la ibekwa khona. Sifuna ukuntshela nje abafundi ukuthi as a victory current serving SRC nabafundi senizovunyelwa ukuthi nidayise ema campusini. Ecampusini njengamanje eJude Campus kuzovulwa izitolo and lezo itolo lezo zizovunyelwa abafundi ukuthi bedayise abafundi bazokwazi ukudayisa bebe nepaza shop bengasathelwa into zabo iinformation sizontshela ke njengamanje anytime kusukela njengamanje sizazokhuluma kahle sicheck ukuthi abafundi yini kumele benze ukuze bekwazi ukuthola ikhala zokuthi bedayise laphana. Ngiyabonga.
Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background, to strike with X, to strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you're left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background. To strike with X. To strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice? A voice, a smart way to strike responsibly, to strike with freedom, to strike with power. To ensure your voice is not just another voice in the background. To strike with X. To strike for the leader you want. Because tertiary education, despite all its challenges, it is your freedom, your choice. It is your future to change your life, to pave your future, to preserve it. Strike smart and let your voice be heard. Tertiary education is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and frustrations. And sometimes you feel like your voice is not being heard and you are left with no option than to strike. Striking. What good does it do if you will end up banning the only thing that you have, your future? What if I were to tell you that you have a choice?
Student of Ukzn PMP and student of Ukzn at large. My name is Sibonga Mlondo. I've been entrusted by the EFFSC Ukzn PMP to contest the portfolio of the campus chairperson. So basically, politics is a competition of ideas, of which those ideas, we must always align them with the black marginalized students and the community at large. So my manifesto is very broad. However, I will highlight fundamental points of which they complete a student. My first point is that of the registration. Under it is the issue of 15%. As the organization, we are very clear that we call for free decolonized education. However, in the midst of us trying to obtain free education, with regards to the issue of 15%, we are saying students that obtain 60% and above average must not be subjected to 15%. And students who are fully funded for 2022 and those of fee remissions must not be subjected to 15%. And all master's and PhD students who are still within their normal duration of their qualification and also doing well academically must not be subjected to 15%. For all those who do not qualify in the above points, but hired as RAs, tutors, mentors, and library assistants must be allowed to register and sign the financial commitment with the university and pay through their salaries. Others who do not fit or being accommodated in the above points, their cases shall be dealt with in individual basis because we believe that no student must be left out. Going to my second point, of which it is honoring the AOD. Students who sign an OD at the beginning of the year were saying that if they tried to pay, but however did not complete their debt, they must not be forced to complete their remaining debt because at least they tried, because we come from different financial backgrounds. So we're saying those students must be allowed to register, must be cleared. For those with no parents, no funding, but they are excelling academically, they're showing commitment and consistency, must be allowed to register, provided that they show supporting documents. Going to my third point, academic affairs. We've seen that 2021, we've had a very disastrous registration, of which sasingaphendulwa ama-ADOs enzuthanda kwayo phendulwa late yonke loo nto. Sibonile ukuthi lokho kudala ukuthi we are short staffed. That's why we are saying the number of ADOs per school must be increased from at least 1 to 10. Nakhona futhi we are saying the university must employ black South African masters and PhD students as ADOs. So for humanities, since in our 6 schools, and for example, we are employing 5 students per school. It means as the SRC, as the incoming SRC, we have created 30 jobs for our masters and PhD students. So moving forward to student services, the clinic must be open 24 hours. We are saying that the university must hire 3 professional nurses that will supervise in nursing as my 4 years, as my clinical trainings, ebhedlela nasemaklinik. Sithina ayizingayi external azibe la eclinic wethu ukuze clinic yethu ivule 24 hours so that sibe nesikhathi la khona sibe khona short staffed. So going forward to this thing of the external ambulances, we are saying as the FFSC, let us insource ambulances. This thing of university spending between 200,000 to 1.5 million to external ambulances. Let us insource ambulances. Take this 1.5 million, buy 2 taxis, buy 2 quantums, and change them into ambulances. It means that we are coming with permanent solutions. Let's university is a keeper per year. This 1.5 million, we charge 1.5 million to keep a per year. Ni fund any postgraduates. So we are saying, with that being said, we are saying, Ufe delete must perform umsebenzi okade in MI7. MI7 we patrol around the residences. If there is local are going, since Ufe delete must perform umsebenzi okade yenziwa uLokuzana MI7. Nakhona futhi we continue with this thing of insourcing because we believe in insourcing. Universities must have a highly trained grade A security unit coming from university itself. Ngalokho we are not going to externalize our funds to our private securities. So we are saying ukuthi by creating a highly trained grade A security established here like school, we are saying ukuthi even if it means ukuthi this established security company isebenze kwamanye companies and universities,